Mhm. I know we're on. Yeah,
We're on.
We're on, but we're not on.
Right. We're on,
You know,
but we're
people
not
know.
on.
We're just
The
we let
show
people
before
come
the
in.
show.
Yeah. Didn't mean to freak you out, Joe.
We freak Joe out every day. I kind of feel sorry for you, Joe,
Why?
because we're crazy and you have to put up with a lot.
Oh, I've
And you're
dealt with
so
crazier.
easygoing.
You guys are actually pleasant.
We think you're fun too.
Should we talk? Oh, that's
Yeah, you
great.
should say it.
Well, no, I've got a no. It's I know people don't.
Jerry's waiting for you to pick your nose.
There it is.
I'm sorry, but that was funny.
Mike Pence. We got
Jerry, you're pretty funny.
he is funny.
Mm-hmm. Yesterday, John, one of the listeners.
Is this picking your nose?
Is that picking your nose? Probably.
I think that might be what he's talking about. I don't call that picking.
That's scratching.
Yeah.
That's scratching your nose. But they don't really know. It could be AI. He could really be picking his nose. John, yesterday, I don't see him on here this early today, but he's like, the show before the show is my favorite part.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
He liked it.
I'm busy this morning.
Yeah, we got quite a day. There's some really good stuff coming on today. Jerry, you are funny. Bindi says now her nose itches. Sorry, Bindi.
That's awesome.
That girl's a hoot. Our guests are not only smart, they are funny.
Good morning, Michelle and Jerry and Bindi and Kim. Good morning, Lizzie.
Good morning,
Jerry,
Mr.
of
Vic.
course, jumping in. Why don't you know what? We'll get you a ride home. You want to do a gummy?
You want me to do
Lizzie?
one? Sure, why not?
Let's see. Well, 8:00. No, it's it'll
probably
hit you.
Today's not a good day. I probably should have already taken it.
Why, do you have to watch your granddaughter today?
Could you imagine going home and saying, hi, Liberty, on my gummy? But I will do it.
That would be funny.
Yeah, I've never once done one, ever. Yesterday, I guess it was yesterday, YouTube was quite happening. People were talking on there.
Good.
Yes, Bindi, the power of suggestion. Why is that? Same thing when people yawn. You say the word yawn, then people yawn.
Mm-hmm.
There's crew.
The Nationals actually had Nancy Pelosi throw out the first pitch.
Get out. I did not see that, thank God.
How stupid is that?
Did she fall down?
No, I didn't.
No, she just tore the ball up.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry wants to know if we're going to have any late summer cancel this get-togethers, because then he could come back home because he's not from here.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
We'll get
on that. Well.
We'll get on that, Jerry. We need to do it.
Let's see what we can get done.
Where do you live now, Jerry? You used to live in Illinois, right?
Well, of course, the Wendy's patio, Bendy.
Of course, if it's not the Wendy's patio, then it could be here outside. There's a really cool patio here too. But Wendy's is way cool. Love that place. Vic knows people. The people.
Yeah, we know some people over there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's almost time. Let's see here.
I think it is time.
Good morning.
Good.
Hi, Tabitha. Tabitha's
Tabitha, good
walking in.
morning.
Hi, Mary. Good morning to you. Drew, good morning to you. Yeah.
The show before the show was about
Drew-
Vic picking his nose.
Drew says,
Yeah.
no, I do touch my nose a lot, though. I mean, I've got sinuses bad. I do the Flonase, and my nose is always itching. And that's why.
How did that come up?
Jerry
Yes.
said it.
How about
Jerry
Bendy
Singleton.
says, I can't praise Complete Auto enough. They've been fantastic. Love to see that.
And they want another cancel this get together.
All right.
Well,
You know what?
yes.
Yeah, before Drew, because I don't think it's, we'll see. Drew's bringing up already Chris Christie going after Trump hard. Yeah, Donald Trump Jr. released it's a Krispy Kreme donut logo, and it says Crispy Chris.
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll wait for our show. We'll start the show, and I'll give you a big notice about one of our advertisers getting noticed. And that is Wendy's. I'm going to tell you about Wendy's when we come back. That's why we always tell people, jump in with us. We're a national show, local and national. But I'll tell you about it. Okay, we'll go ahead and start the show. Hey guys, welcome into cancelthisshow.com. We appreciate you jumping in. It is June 7th. It is a Wednesday. We're ready to rock and roll a podcast like we normally do. We're a live TV podcast. Listen to that. Don't I sound like Eric after a party?
What were you doing last night?
Yeah.
Were you up at Wendy's
I work.
having
I'm
some
working.
cocktails?
He was up
No.
at Wendy's with Ben.
Cocktails.
I know I couldn't get the word out.
No, I may
I
jump
kept
by
saying
there.
contrails.
No. Hey, baby. Chemtrails playing at the
Kind of the
pageant.
same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, for
Cocktails,
sure.
chemtrails.
No, I did. I woke up. I had some sort of sinus steal. That's why people are like, Vic's picking his nose. I don't know if that picking the nose.
Aw.
Anyway, no, I feel good. It's cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel. Lizzie Sparks in studio running the chat boards. As always, we love your live input for this portion of the live show. Eric Johnson en route, and of course, Pro Joe on the engineering board. Remember to share the show, like it, subscribe. We ask every single day. It's so important for people to get to know about us, specifically advertisers, specifically people just learning what we do. Bendy says grass pollen is awful right now. Pollen is what I'm allergic to, so I would not be surprised with that.
My allergies have been really bad the past couple days.
So
Really bad.
we appreciate everybody who does jump in on a daily basis, just teaching people. I still run into people that say, well, how do I find you? How do I listen to you? I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Cancelthisshow.com. It's a website, just getting people's patterns different. I notice people around the country seem to do it a little easier than the people in the St. Louis area for whatever reason. What? I got to change my ways. I got on a website. Yes, you get it. That's what we do. And of course, the advertisers who are with us enjoy being with us, and we're grateful for them. Like, subscribe, share the show. Let people know when you like the thumbs up on all the platforms. It helps us as well. It helps us work with the algorithm so that our information and our topics get out to more people. We love your interaction in the show. You guys are funny. You guys are interesting. Sometimes, guess what? You know a little more than we do. We don't act like we know everything. We're an info entertainment where you're trying to know as much as we possibly can. And of course, it's a big collective group. Love the team effort. Big team, little me. That's what Cancel the Show is all about. Okay, you can find us on all of the platforms to watch. You can also listen to us as a podcast, as a regular. I get some ideas from our podcast listeners as well. Coming up today, it's a Weed Wednesday, Greenlight in studio at 9:30. We'll be talking with them regarding what's happening with some of their stores. We've got the Strix coming in at 8:30, the national brand of realtors and mortgage all across this country. But they've got something today. I'm like, what do you do when an electrical company, in this case Spire, tears up your yard? What do you do? It happened to them. It's interesting what happens to us. What does it happen when it happens to a realtor?
Was it Spire or MSD?
Spire.
Wow.
Yeah, electrical. Spire's electric, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So we got video of what they did to their yard. We'll see what they talk about coming up today as well. All right. Also, so many topics, but Tucker Carlson is back on Twitter. We'll jump into that. Very interesting stuff coming up there. Yeah, Moms for Liberty now put on a evil list. Moms for Liberty put on a hit list. Moms for Liberty really pisses me off. Today, our emotions can go up and down and all around. I'm trying to stay level, but man, I think this country's gone. That's the last thing Eric needs to walk into and hear is Vic saying, I think this country's gone. It's too late. It's too late. The Moms of Liberty even put on an exposed list. Give me a break.
It's because it has the word liberty in it. Liberty is a criminal word these days.
And what is your tab take today?
We are going to be talking about your Second Amendment rights.
Boom. Can't wait for that. Metro Shooting Supply jumping in as a partner coming up in the next week or so as well. All right. We got the crew together here. Take a look at our sponsors, our advertisers. They're so important. Please let us know. Let people know about us, to let us know what we can do to go out and get other advertisers, for people to get inspired with our show, to be a part of the show as well. Back in 2 minutes.
And now it's here, the unveiling of the latest Carroll House lifestyle collections. I'm Brooke with my sister Amy, inviting you to see 3 football fields of the latest styles.
Our new lifestyle collections are premium quality furniture made exclusively for us and available only at Carroll House.
The attention to detail is unmatched, and so is the value, nearly half the price of a typical gallery store.
Plus, get free financing, delivery, and in-home design. Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Marco, wait, what? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar, Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. Hey guys, welcome back to Cancel This. Eric Johnson's here, Tabitha Hassel, Lizzie Sparks, and Projo. I'm Vic Faust. Thanks for jumping in on this June 7th podcast. Several topics to get into today, but the one thing that really jumped to my interest last night. Tucker Carlson jumped back on Twitter last night, guys. Hey, I think a couple 100,000 people may have watched.
Oh, I bet so.
Yeah. How about millions of people jumping into Tucker last night? Tucker Carlson back on Twitter. He is for sure on Twitter. It is Twitter where he'll be. Says that it'll be a show like he did before his first episode. I don't know what the latest count was. Last time I saw, there were like 7 million people that had watched already.
Good for him.
It was 10 minutes. I mean, you see his backdrop here. We're showing you the video of it. Nothing fancy. Tucker in his suit. His same producing staff behind the scenes, I guarantee. I mean, he talked about a lot of things. It was interesting. Out of everything that he decided to talk about, right out of the gate, I guess we shouldn't be surprised what he started to speak about. But he jumped in talking about Ukraine blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. And then, of course, the dam that we talked a little bit about yesterday, blaming Ukraine for doing it, not Russia.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's
Yeah.
exactly the case.
It would hurt Russia more than it would
Yes,
hurt
it would.
Ukraine,
Yes.
even though Ukrainian citizens were the ones that were being evacuated because, I mean, here's the deal. Gee, Russia has a military in the sea right there, or at least in that area.
It stopped them from moving forward is what happened.
The other things that he talked about last night, which I found was interesting, the government's knowledge of UFOs. It sounded a lot like things that we talk about, which I found interesting.
Yeah, because there was some new information that was
How did
released
Epstein
yesterday.
have so much money? Who organized the BLM riots? And of course, Lindsey Graham's obsession with war and death. So 10 minutes of Tucker last night, episode 1. Glad to see him back. He also said that Fox violated his contract by releasing negative information about him. So he is battling back against Fox. I don't see that ending anytime soon.
And Bindi, they have I've never heard about them having bodies. I didn't watch his show, but I know that they are being accused of having intact UFO vehicles, and I think that probably relates back to the day when they had the Chinese balloon and they shot down, 4 or 5 other objects, which allegedly were true UFOs.
So here's why they do have them. Are you ready?
The bodies or the
Everything.
vehicles?
All of it.
I think they have
the
all of it.
entire
I
kit.
spent an hour
I'll
last night, Eric, trying to find information or a guest because there was an informant to see if we could get him for a Friday show, and you can't find him anywhere. He did a show, but I can't find him.
Well, here's why they have them. Because this guy, he was on the inside, not just this guy. But if you're the United States government and you are being accused since 1954 of having these creatures and this technology and this metal and this knowledge of what's going on, it's real simple for you guys for the government to literally say, we don't have anything. This was simply a balloon out of Roswell. Here it is. Bring your kids and jump around and frolic in the balloon that came down. It's not an alien, guys. War of the Worlds was fictitious.
They didn't kill JFK either,
That would be the easiest thing for the United States government to disprove.
Well, they lie to us all the time. I mean, how is this any different?
So the reason that I think it's true is because the government doesn't just come out and say, guys, you guys are high. There's no aliens. I mean, let's focus on real things like in nuclear war and that. There's no aliens, but they never do that. Never. It's unbelievable. So they
used to say that,
and I think they're using these guys they're using these guys to come out on camera to kind of this drip campaign of saying we cannot let this all out at the same time, right, Tabitha? We have to let this guy come out and just blow his soul.
But you're also missing one of the bigger points is that they are telling us it exists. They are telling us we had some.
No, they're saying we can't disprove it.
No, that's not true. And then we had an official from the Pentagon who came out. This is somebody at the Pentagon who said there is a good possibility that there's a mothership up in our galaxy, and these are
but
probes
those are weird
from the galaxy. To me, it's hard to wrap our brains around it. But to me, that is an admission that there is something going on. We can watch the UAP hearings, and we hear our government say, officials from our government, that we cannot explain what this is. It's not our technology. It's not the technology of other countries. It's something that we cannot identify. They put an entire group together to investigate it.
So if you just
look what Senator Kennedy said. He told people to lock your doors at night because there's something out there.
There's something out there,
and there is something out there.
It's a done deal. I mean, as a pilot, I fly Cessnas. I mean, basically they're lawnmowers with propellers.
Oh,
and
you're
wings.
still a pilot, still up in the air.
But they are in the air, and as a pilot, you know that you see kind of weird things from your peripheral. And these are jet fighter pilots that have the most bizarre radar detection devices. And they are tracking these units going Mach 2 and then going in 90-degree angles. I mean,
with no obvious propulsion system.
I don't care what Chinese technology
The thing that I love about this whole situation is that, face it, whether you like Tucker Carlson or not, he's the most popular news guy in America, maybe the world right now. And what does he choose to decide to speak about towards the end of his 10-minute episode 1 Twitter broadcast? This subject with the government not only having craft, but possibly bodies UFO related. Man, it doesn't get any better than that. Not to me, at least.
Do you feel vindicated because we talk about it so much?
Maybe.
We have to talk about it.
We know what we do is good.
Well, he's all in on that stuff. But think about
it's no longer a fringe topic. Now it's news and it's true.
It's like this. It's like, okay, let's say that it comes out and the government goes, yep, there's aliens. Think about how that shifts everything we talk about. It shifts geopolitical problems. It shifts domestic problems.
Do we care that Biden's in office as much?
At that
Biden's
point,
an alien.
At that point, you're like, at that point, you have no interest in national debt stuff anymore. At that interest, you have no interest in borders. At that interest, you're like, wait a minute. Are you saying that there are people literally from another universe here? It shifts everything immediately. Pow! That's how it is.
It has already shifted.
If somebody knows Tucker, ask him for an interview with us. I want to find out why he likes that subject so much.
Because
we know why we like
news. Because it's actually news now.
Somebody get a hold of Tucker, please.
It's no longer
Joe,
news of the
Bro,
weird.
Joe, you got him on speed dial. Please get Tucker.
Yeah, Joe's going to call him. Joe knows him.
I think he likes it for 2 reasons. A, it's exceptionally interesting. Number 2, it's just another aspect of the government knowing something and not telling the people.
It's actually a big headline in almost every major news outlet yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually news. It's not crazy talk. It's
interesting.
It's Bigfoot news. There's a little bit different.
No, because Bigfoot news wasn't on the cover of the Chicago Tribune or something like that. And I'm not saying the UFOs were, but was one of the biggest headlines yesterday was the deal about the UAPs having potential UFO craft
and bodies. How about this take from Kathy? Because we love everybody when you come on and give your take. We don't always have to agree. We don't always agree, but everybody's opinion is welcome. Kathy says he is an informant. I'm guessing this is the whistleblower that had access and allegedly saw everything. He is an informant that is being represented by an attorney from the same agency that he's speaking out against, guys. So this is just another boogeyman for her to scare you with, just like COVID.
I don't know about that. I don't know that Americans these days find UFOs or aliens as scary because how many years now, our entire lives, we've heard about abductions. 99% of the time when a person is abducted by a UFO, if you believe these people, they put them back in their own bed. I mean, it's not like they're disappearing, never to be seen again.
I mean, once again, you've got Tucker Carlson talking about a Ukraine bombing. Who began BLM? Lindsey Graham, what is your obsession with war and death? Oh, yeah, and by the way, UFOs and bodies existing.
All I saw in that whole thing was Tucker Carlson becoming Bill O'Reilly.
Why would you say that?
because
I'm
you're
sorry.
Don't diss the man.
All I saw in that was Tucker Carlson going to the small side.
No, it's a fair point.
The small side.
How
of
can you say
media.
that when he had 7 million people looking?
I'm gonna
watching the
check it.
show?
Let me
How
That
can you
might
say
be
that,
true.
Eric?
That might be true, but I think Glenn Beck does the
Don't
same
you think
thing.
maybe that's the way of the future?
Maybe, but not right now
Because
because
look what
I think Harris Faulkner did a really good job on Tucker's spot last night, and that's big media. See, I think of media as big media,
is changing.
big media, and
is
small
changing.
media.
Eric, I love that you brought that up. Okay, okay. Disclaimer: I love Harris Faulkner. I always have. I watched her when I first got into the business. She was in Kansas City. I thought she's done a fantastic job with Fox. She's not afraid to speak her mind, which means she won't be long at Fox.
Right. They're going to
Thank you
kick
for
her
that,
out
Vic.
too.
Thank you.
They
That's
are
for
going to
you,
kick her out.
Tab.
They are.
Thank you,
You know
Vic.
what Paul Ryan said about all this? He said that it doesn't matter who they kick off, that basically us minions will go back to watch Fox anyway, so it's no big deal Tucker's gone.
It is 100% true.
Of course, Paul Ryan
100%
said that.
true.
Mhm.
But you know what though? Because they're not counting on our money. Fox National
Paul Ryan was
is not
right
counting
as a
on our
bitch.
money.
That is such a good point. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think of Paul Ryan. He's right.
He is right about
because there's many teams that lost amazing. I will never watch
Fair.
the Green Bay Packers again now that they got rid of Brett Favre.
But
Aaron
Eric,
Rodgers comes in and I watched. I love Green Bay.
I heard you've been drinking some Bud Light lately too.
woo!
Look at the look on his face.
Nobody wearing a
You know
cool
who-
ass Johnny Cash shirt like that will be drinking Bud Light again.
What's
One of
wrong
our
with
guests
you?
has been drinking
Yes.
Bud
Are you
Light, and I
saying-
called him out on it, and I said, you need to come on our show and tell us why that you're drinking Bud Light. And his listeners attacked the heck out of me.
Who did what?
Scott Fawn was saying he's the hillbilly that's still drinking
we
Bud
love
Light.
Scott.
Oh, I love Scott.
The most knowledgeable man of Missouri.
Totally.
Missouri.
But some people
politics.
that were listening did not think that was cute that
Yeah.
I said that. So I can't wait to have
Was he
Scott on
drinking
again.
Bud Light?
Yeah,
Well,
he was
it was
drinking
on
Bud Light.
Facebook.
I
Yeah, he
heard
put it on
someone
Facebook.
at the bar.
If I could get an advertisement with Bud Light, I'd probably sell out.
Oh, come on.
You take
Have
your
a
phone
soul.
money
Have a
too.
soul.
Come on, man.
I heard somebody at the bar at the bottom of the dinner goes, "You Bud Light drinker." It was like a complete diss.
That's
I was like,
hysterical.
damn.
How
huh?
dare you? I'm going to fight you.
So
I'm
you
drinking
were.
Miller, man.
Did you just admit it's true? You have
What's
been
that?
drinking Bud Light.
What's that? You know what? Let's not lie. Bud Light is just it's the worst beer made.
Eric.
It is the worst beer made.
Yeah,
it's
it's not
great.
good.
It's like backyard
drinking
lemonade.
water, right?
It's like backyard barbecue lemonade. It's just
Okay.
it's nothing.
Eric, when I looked at the video of Tucker Carlson, and then you bring up the fact of Bill O'Reilly, Glenn Beck, I see what you're saying. But here's the difference in my humble opinion.
Okay.
As of this morning, like 14 hours later, 15 hours later?
Yes.
His video has already been seen 64 million times.
Shut your face.
No.
Shut your face.
Shut the front door.
Not
No
only,
way.
okay, 64 million times, 156 retweets, 562,000 likes, and almost 8,000 quotes. Or excuse me, 18,000 quotes. This is unlike anything we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it takes a man like that to get fired from Fox or kicked out of Fox, canceled by Fox to go do his own thing. That, my friends, is massive.
Yeah. Well, he was the one that was complaining about Fox Nation, which is their online streaming service. So he was the one that says, nobody watches this crap. Remember when he got caught with the hot mic and he goes, no one watches this crap. He goes, why are we going to build confidence? No one's. And now he's like, now that's the space that he occupies again. Now, I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, I'm still conflicted.
64 million views. That is so incredible.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. When you look at that episode 1 and the topics, those topics are not like, oh my God, I'd never heard of this, or oh my gosh, we've just learned something new. There's certain things that are out there, things we talk about, things that other conservative podcasts are talking about. It was Tucker because he had so much fame from Fox and he has his own way about him. I love it. I'm glad he's doing it. I'm glad he's doing it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's see what can happen on Twitter. I mean, I still don't know what to think about Elon Musk and Twitter not giving free speech in other countries and him being fine with it and refusing to talk about what's happening in China and Turkey, of all places, where people don't have the free speech like we do. But I'm glad Tucker is there to bring some light to what's happening with Twitter.
I do too. But I'm still in a quandary about how, for the Fox viewers, it was all about destination TV. Tucker Carlson was kind of like the old days of when you would go home on a Thursday night and watch the Cosby Show. You knew where you were going to be. You knew how you worked your night, and boom, there you were at 8:00 watching Tucker Carlson. Now we got to see how his opinions.
He'll do better. He'll do better.
Yeah, but are his opinions?
He'll make more money, and he'll do better because Eric, this is the new way. It's the new way of doing.
I know
things.
what you're saying.
And he only had to be on for 10 minutes.
Right. And Glenn Beck just makes more money now than he ever has.
And look,
but do we know what Glenn Beck says? Because I used to know what Glenn Beck says. I never hear Glenn Beck.
Because you don't go out and search for it. People who want to hear what someone says, they will go out and they will search for that person. And look at Tucker, how he's cut his overhead down. He's at his own home. He's on his own time. He probably has a camera guy there, and he probably still has a producer to help him with different things.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I will say: if Tucker Carlson can release multiple images of the J6 thing, like tonight on Tucker Carlson, I won't be here. But what I'm going to do is release all 20 hours of video that I have. Get yourself a Swanson's TV dinner. Have fun. We'll talk about it tomorrow. If he does something like that, and he has that kind of content,
he can do anything he wants to do. He is free now from Fox's reign. He can talk about anything he wants to talk about, do anything he wants to do. And guess what? Twitter is not going to do a darn thing about it, because look how much money they're going to make. He's probably going to make twice as much money. Look what happened to Rush Limbaugh.
No doubt about that.
He got fired for 97.1 here in St. Louis because they didn't like his content. Well, do you know he went on? And when he passed away, he was worth, $800 million.
Wait a minute. So bring that back to who was it? You're talking about Rush?
Rush Limbaugh.
Okay, Rush was international before he even came to St. Louis. He started out at
But they fired him because they didn't like his content. 97.1 said he was too right-wing.
Yeah, but then he went to KMOX, which is bizarre.
And then he created his own network so that he could freely speak whatever he wanted.
Yeah, what year was that? That was the early 90s?
The money is in the freedom to talk, because people want to know what's really going on without Big Brother hanging over their head.
Well, we'll continue to follow the Tucker trials in regards.
I'm going to give Tucker a B-. How about that?
What?
A B-.
I'm going to give Tucker.
You're out of
I'm B-.
I'm going to give the fact that I'm just sitting there scrolling Facebook last night.
No, you get the B-.
I'm going to just say I was just scrolling Facebook, and I'm like, oh, look, flowers for Father's Day or shirts for Father. Oh, look at it. What the hell? Tucker Carlson? So there was no rollout. There was no promotion. It was just Tucker on my screen.
And
I'm going, what the hell?
I was going to say, people managed to find him, Eric. You just weren't searching for him.
I'll give it a solid B-.
You get the B- for effort.
I'll take a B-.
It's 15 and a half hours later, and it's been viewed over 64 million times.
Think about that, Eric. Do you think he got 64 million views at Fox? Nope.
You know what the best thing is about him? He used to be pretty far left until he got awoken. And then he goes on Fox and still kind of stayed weird. Like he was just talking to people and talking to weird liberals. And then he started telling the truth.
I think everybody's...
And that's so many of us.
I think everybody is liberal. Nobody comes out of the womb with a bow tie on as a conservative. They all start a little liberal and then they're...
You know why that is? Do you know why that is? Because we're all born with the original sin, and Democrats are from Satan.
Exactly.
Oh. So now
I didn't expect that.
Lizzie is called Democrats Satan, and Tabitha is called Democrats
many things. Many things. Mentally ill.
Mentally
not
ill.
Democrats though, but progressive liberals.
Yes, I should change it.
Is a mental illness,
liberals.
not Democrats.
That's right, not Democrats.
Progressive liberals. But you know what Tucker has done, and what so many of us have done? I would have been considered a liberal 10 years ago.
Yes.
15 years ago.
Yes.
But you know what? I follow the truth. Back then, the truth was something different than what I know the truth to be today.
Was it really?
What? You never know what people are going to think.
I don't know. The 15 years ago was right around the whole the Al Gore documentary of the Unconvenient Truth.
Well,
that's when I started going, this is force fed on us. This is bull crap.
I was trying to move on to the topic, but then we have listener viewer Robert who says, guys, wake up. Tucker is still left-sided.
I hear that too, but he doesn't talk that way anymore.
No, he's independent. You got to watch.
Yeah, maybe he's independent.
You got to go watch the old Crossfire.
Teach me, man. I'm not understanding that. I'm trying.
There's nothing wrong.
Keep it open mind.
There's nothing wrong with. I'm not a Republican, and I have no problem saying I hate Republicans as much as I hate Democrats. I don't have any problem saying that whatsoever. But you know what? When it comes to voting, we have no choice. Democrats and Republicans are two sides of the same coin, and none of them care about us. And
some do.
Damn Tabitha.
Very few. Why
don't you run for something?
They're all playing the game.
Run for something.
You know what? If I could run as an independent and win something, I would actually do it. I will tell you.
We'll get you some platform shoes. We'll get you all made up and did
shoes,
and we'll send you out there and
we'll start the campaign right here.
Are you guys
right
to
here.
her for governor?
Yes.
Are you guys seriously?
Tabitha for governor.
Who in this room possibly thinks that Republicans in Congress care more about us than Democrats in Congress?
They don't.
No,
They
go there.
Do not.
They go there wanting to. Big dreams. I've talked to them. But our system is set up for what we get, and it will never change, which is why, as positive as I try to be, my realist side comes out. Washington's not changing.
Nope.
And politicians go there with big hopes, big dreams, big eyes. And then they're like, listen, let's go have a talk.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen as we have our arm around you. Mm-hmm. Because for the first, I mean, even when Jesse the Body Ventura ran and won, I'm going to change everything. Well, and you know, it didn't last. It never does.
You can't change anything.
You can't change Washington.
I think the problem with the last 10 years is this. The margins of politics was a lot smaller. JFK was not that far from Richard Nixon back in the 60s. He really wasn't. It was a few social issues here. It was a little bit of taxation economics there. But the two gentlemen were really quite similar in a lot of ways. Bill Clinton was a lot more similar to George H.W. Bush than Obama was to Trump. Now the polarizations are so far, you can't even see each other anymore. Back in the day, you could see each other. You could make a point for the blue dog Democrats and the conservative Republicans. Now it's completely flipped on its head. Corporate America is liberal. That's not the way it used to be. Corporate America in the old days was the Koch brothers and very conservative, remember?
Yep.
Not anymore.
Yep. So what have we learned? Tabitha, you're not a Republican and you're not a Democrat.
If you ran for anything, you would have to take a side somewhere. You can't run in the center. Nobody wants your center.
And that's exactly right. You know what? There are Trump's not a Republican. Trump's not a Democrat, but he had to run for the party that would potentially
He's more
nominate
liberal
him.
than you are.
And he probably is more liberal.
He's bringing back Roe versus Wade in a lot of instances.
My point is and has always been that no one in Congress represents us. They represent themselves. You know, I'm not saying there's no good people in Congress, but once they're there, and we all know how it is, you're getting the money's coming in, you're increasing your lifestyle, you learn to live a certain way. And then guess what? You cannot do without the money. So they're going to keep taking
one thing that I was told, it was like, Eric, you can go into politics and you can win and people will like your message. They'll subscribe to it. But then the tactics of politics, and I would love to talk to, we have a lot of people around this building that know the ins and outs of it, but the tactics of politics are invisible to a lot of people. What happens is you get into an office and the first thing that you notice is you have a schedule of a lot of people that want to meet with you. And these people are legitimately good people, and they might be liberal, and they may have liberal causes, and you're having this back and forth conversation.
And a lot of them are lobbyists. And I have a lot of respect for lobbyists, but we know how the system works.
Yeah, but could you imagine being a conservative politician in an office, and you have kids for transgendered school or whatever, and you're like, these are human beings, I'm having a conversation, and we can agree on some things, and all of a sudden you come out of that meeting, and boom, you're the worst candidate on the planet because you had a meeting with the...
Well, that's called playing the game. If you don't play the game, you don't stay in your office.
But it's not even playing the game. You're living in a world with multiple views.
Why can't we have a Congress, or why can't we have a government that just cares about the people? I mean, why can't that be? Why can't we make term limits? Why can't we come up with policies to where if you are voted as a Congress member, that you're not allowed to make kickbacks? You get your salary and nothing else
I agree with that.
for the duration of your
payola.
term.
All you have to do is follow Republicans and Democrats and they're investing and look at the groups that they sit on. Look at the certain little groups that they have. Oh, you've been assigned to this committee and you've been assigned to this energy committee and you've been assigned to infrastructure committee. And then you follow where they put their money because they have insider trading information. And you would have to be literally a kindergartner or preschooler to not understand where to put your money with the information you're given. And that's Republicans. It's Democrats. They're making so much money. And we've talked about it. Eric's talked about it. Clearly, you become a politician and then all of a sudden you become a millionaire.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen for every politician. I know a lot of them, and I've talked to them over the past 25 years working in local news. However, it does happen for them on the national level.
When you get to that level, look at Barack Obama. His first year
but
as a
being
senator,
a politician can also be
he
a
made
thankless
millions
job.
of dollars.
No, but if you're so local politicians aren't going to be the multimillionaires. It's going to be the guys that leave Congress. This is the way it should have worked.
But there are kickbacks even for state reps.
There's a colleague of yours. There's a colleague of Vic Faust that I know.
You are my colleague.
Well, a lady colleague that I will never bring up. I won't bring up her name, but she used to work for 2, 4, or 5 here in St. Louis.
Oh, when I worked,
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
but she said that. But I used to film her doing voiceovers on prompter for a company, and she did it freelance. And then one day she left channel blank.
Yeah, I think her initials were SM.
Maybe not. But she goes.
We know her and love her if that's who you're talking
about. But about 2 years later after that, she came and she goes, Eric, I'm working for this company on the side. I'm making about 40 times as much as I was making on air. And I go, what? She goes, yeah, it's basically I do 1 hour of work a week, and I got a retainer check.
And you bring this insane. Up why?
Because that's the way Congress is supposed to be. Your civil service is supposed to be X amount of dollars. You don't take payola. Once you leave, you know the ins and outs. Now, as an American citizen, you can go lobby all you want. That's really the
term limits. It should be there. I did want to say one other thing that Tucker Carlson did say, and this is interesting, and keep in mind because when we saw Tucker rocking and rolling at Fox, did we ever think he'd be fired? Besides Tabitha? No, we didn't.
Well, we don't know the ins and outs of it. He's a
I think we know the ins and outs.
I think we do. I think we started to know he was going to get fired when he got so popular and started saying so much.
When he started telling the truth.
The truth. Because he didn't always tell the truth.
He went further than what their platform allows.
Correct. He said, as of today, this is his quote from last night, as of today, we have come to Twitter, which we hope will be the shortwave radio under the blankets. Love that quote. He continued by saying, we're told there are no gatekeepers here, talking about it Twitter. If that turns out to be false, we'll leave. But in the meantime, we're grateful to be here. And who would have thought just 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, that Twitter, of all places, would be the spot that Tucker Carlson, the most popular anchor in all the world, would choose to have his show on. My, oh my, how fast things can change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tucker's he's a voice. He's always been a voice. I think that he got his, to be honest with you, I think people just chided him as a right-wing conservative, bow tie wearing conservative. And then once he got onto Fox, people liked his style. They liked his presentation. They liked what he was saying. They noticed Tabitha. They noticed early into his career on Fox as he was taking over the position of another high ranked official over on Fox, that his way was making people go, wow, this is very interesting. I can get behind this. And I think that what I don't understand, the only thing that I think that went on here is there was this is what I understood. There's a backdoor deal to say, get that guy off the air because you're being sued for $1 billion from the Dominion.
So. I think that guy off the air because he's telling too much truth and waking too many people up.
I think he was he's making money. He was making Fox money hand over fist.
Eric, there are people on both sides of the fence who listen to Tucker. And I was shocked by this, but somebody at this golf tournament I worked at recently told me, they said, you know what I like about Tucker most is really, he's not giving a lot of opinion. He's really just telling what the news is and allowing people to form their own opinions in many cases.
Yeah.
It can happen. Yeah. Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel, and Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks running the chat line. Pro Joe taking care of business. Of course, you can always check us out at cancelthisshow.com. We continue to grow, and we appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, hitting the thumbs up button because it works with our show with the algorithms that are in place. to make sure that our information gets to as many people as possible, you can choose the platforms that you want. And speaking of Tucker and Twitter, by the way, we are on Twitter. We just haven't promoted it there. We didn't know what to expect with Twitter because we had such a large following on Facebook, on Rumble, and of course on YouTube.
Apparently multi-millions of people listen over there on Twitter.
How about 64 million people interested enough to watch Tucker?
Is the Twitter video thing a new thing?
Damn, the Strix better be on Twitter.
Is that a new thing or is that an old thing? Twitter on video or a video on Twitter?
Well, video on Twitter, my understanding of when I went and looked at it, if you pay for the blue check mark, you can download up to 2 hours of content.
Oh.
Which how long is our show?
About 2 hours.
About 2 hours.
I signed us up. We're in the waiting
Tabitha,
line.
we love you.
I signed us up for that long 2 months before our show started, when we just started having discussions about it. So we're in the waiting line.
Maybe I should go.
Wait a minute, we have to stand in a waiting line?
You have to be in a waiting line.
Did Tucker have to stand in a waiting line?
No.
I kind of doubt it.
Damn. I'm tired of being told, go sit in the corner. Take your spot.
We're in the queue.
We love Wednesdays because we catch up with our good friends, Kathy Helbig Strict, Steve Strict, New American Funding for Steve, of course, Kathy Helbig's Experience Real Estate Partners, 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD. I can't wait to talk real estate, but man, wait a minute. Steve, have your arms gotten bigger? No, back up. Show those babies. You work for those. You weren't born with those. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Give the people what they want. Give them what they want.
Steve, do you ever have
man. I told Eric this that night at your party. I just buy smaller shirts.
Hey, I'm a fan of this medium.
And Kathy is not naked. She does have a dress on, and it's a beautiful dress.
I have clothes on.
Do you guys ever have a fight in the
Kathy
kitchen?
naked is not a bad thing, with all due respect.
Exactly.
Steve.
The viewers, right?
Does he ever say, do you ever say, man, why do you get all the damn billboards? I see you everywhere. I mean, I turn out of Starbucks, boom, there you are. I go down to 70s, boom, there you are. Do you ever say, give me some billboard time?
We're working on a new one with him in the background too.
What's he going to be doing?
Nice.
Like yard work? He'll be doing yard work or something?
I'm getting tired of
doing
being
yard
put in
work
the
with
corner.
no shirt on.
No, I'm good. Backseat's fine.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't even know how to comment on that.
Well, we got to talk real estate, and we'll talk mortgage in a moment. But Steve, you made some big headways this week with the video you released. Hey, I want to show the video first.
Yeah.
Is it all right we show the video?
Absolutely.
With your sound? So Projo's going to
Nice.
pop that up. What we're doing is we're setting up. Can you set it up before we show the video where this is in regards to your home?
So this is in our driveway. It's a bridge that
That's
goes
our home
from
in the upper left corner.
cul-de-sac that it's a bridge that gives us access to our house. So we built that house here's the map 5 years ago. Spire came over. They were looking for their line. They ended up drilling some holes into our bridge, fairly large holes.
Which looked like a street.
Right.
drilling it into the street.
Okay.
So they drilled all the way through it. We didn't even know until about a year, 18 months ago that it started crumbling. Somebody went underneath it and saw that everything was eroded from the point of where those holes are at all the way over. So we had to shut the bridge down because a car would have fallen through it. And we actually have video of water going through those holes, washing away the debris, but Spire does not want to take responsibility.
Isn't Spire the same company that blew up the house a few years ago?
No.
Over there in Oak Island? Who was that?
A private contractor.
It was a private contractor?
It was a private contractor.
And it was more than one house.
I want to see your video. Joe, can you play that?
Here's the mess. Here's the pipe.
That's half of
Look at my yard. Right. My yard is completely torn off.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Look at all that.
3 houses.
Those were trees.
And this is a little
Look at all those stumps that are taken out.
buying property.
Completely destroyed my yard, too.
Or you understand whether the streets are publicly owned or privately.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
They're
This
private,
is what we have to deal with.
which is why we're footing the bill.
Wait a minute. Why are you footing the bill if they destroyed it?
Thank you,
Because they're not
Spire.
taking responsibility.
Appreciate it.
So
We've got to get it done.
meantime,
Yeah.
we-
Look at
we have
that.
it done before.
And that's only one side?
See, the right side hasn't
See,
been
we
done
still got to
yet.
tear that right
But
side.
that's the side that's been deteriorating. My yard.
And they're not
Then they
taking
tore our yard
responsibility.
up, which was beautiful.
At this point, they're
We're
not
making
taking
a little bit of
responsibility.
progress, but not enough yet.
They claim that they sent someone out when we made the original complaint. They said they
Imagine that
felt
we'll
that it
need to replace all
I
that.
can't believe that.
and they're not taking
along
responsibility.
with
Another thing to keep in mind
Kevin Joseph
too.
right on point, 100 to 200K to fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah, the first bid was 200K.
Yeah.
Are you serious? And
How would you know
and two
that,
other
Kevin?
neighbors have to foot the bill
That
for
was
this?
my next point. My next point is know what your HOA
Mm.
says. That is
Yeah,
one
if
thing
you,
we really
you can
didn't look
continue to
at.
show that
Even me
video,
being an
Joe.
agent, I really
Thanks,
didn't
buddy.
care about what the HOA.
Okay, so you were saying what when the video was going on, just so people could hear about private and public?
Private and
Because
publicly
somebody
held
said, well,
streets.
that looks like a gated community.
not.
But it's not a gated
No,
community.
It's a street with 7 homes on it, but it is privately held. The street is
Nice.
privately held.
But the utilities also run through the creek, so MSD,
Right.
Inspire,
Right.
you know.
Right, but the difference between privately held and publicly held is the county would be taking care of these repairs if the street wasn't a privately held street. So anytime you live in a neighborhood that has privately held, you have to repave it. All that is at the cost of the homeowners. So you do need to take that in mind.
Yeah, but
keep
it
that in
can't
mind when
be
you're
at the
buying homes.
It can't be at the dereliction of the utility company either.
Well,
Right.
exactly.
You know, I mean
Exactly.
that's
And
unbelievable.
then here
It's a
was
big
the
deal.
You guys
surprise
got to
for
win
us.
this for a lot
This
of
is
people.
how you have
do.
to get
Here was
into
the
your
surprise
house.
for us.
Right. That's how we
We
have
knew
to get
it
in
was
our
privately held streets. We didn't really pay attention to the HOA restrictions that said any issues with the creek belong to the 3 houses that the creek accesses.
Oh
so
my
the other
Right.
4 houses are out of it.
Yep.
Only the 3 of us that live behind the creek
Mhm.
are responsible for any repairs. to the creek.
At
I
about
can't believe that.
$200,000 right now.
Now we
Listen
did
to
get
this.
them to come down on the price.
This is a great real
We
estate
got a
update,
second
too.
bid, but
Right.
the reason that we had to move forward with this is because the storms came through. One of our neighbors had damage to their roof. Their roof started leaking. The roofers would not cross the bridge to fix their
Oh.
roof, so now they have mold in their top floor. So we had to, all come together and
Oh,
foot the
wow.
bill because
Yeah.
the neighbor's roof is
Yeah.
damaged.
Unbelievable.
That is, I never even thought about that because in my subdivision,
day in the life, man.
the streets are privately owned
Right.
because we're not allowed to park in front of our houses on the street. Our driveways are in the back.
Yes.
And when I asked the HOA about it, they're like, well, our streets are privately owned. We can keep you from parking in front of your home.
And this could happen anywhere in America.
And I thought that was as bad
Anywhere.
as it got, but this is
There's
a
And
a lot-
I've always
there's a lot
thought-
of places in St. Louis that have
The
privately held
first
streets.
I
bid,
had
they
no
wanted
idea.
to tear the whole thing down and build a
Yeah.
golf cart path with rock through our front yard
Yeah.
so we could access our house.
Yeah, they want. Yeah,
That
They
was
wanted
their
to take out
solution.
More trees. The first bid was like
the
225,000.
contractors, yeah.
They wanted to take out more of our trees because all those trees that we've already taken out a bunch are in our front yard. So they wanted to take out to the right those
Yeah,
trees.
Vic, you've seen it.
So, yeah. So even with
build a
private,
golf cart
Mm.
path, build it up of gravel and a golf cart.
Wow.
so even with private property, there are easements in certain directions for the
Mhm.
utility company so they have
Correct.
access to make repairs or updates.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
appreciate the update there, Paul. I mean, nobody wants to deal with it.
Well,
and
the problem is that these utilities, since there's one of each, is such a monopoly
Oh,
that you walk in there and it's a
It is.
bureaucratical hell unless you go in there with Elliot Davis and you say Elliot's going to have this on the air today at about 6:00. So
local consumer reporter in the St. Louis area, of course.
believe me, a lot of people brought his name up in the.
We haven't
in the
heard from him
post.
yet, Elliot. We haven't got.
well, yeah, the only thing is this is
he
private.
retired.
Yeah.
This is private, and that's the problem. It's like what is Sire out? Or Sire? What are they out if they basically say, we're out. We're going to wash our hands of this. They're out nothing because they're a monopoly.
I know. What can you do? There are no options. You can't just go and get gas from anyone else.
No.
No.
Well, the options are to try to take them to court.
Yeah.
So is this a done
Force their
situation for the Strix right now? You're going to just pay with the other 2 neighbors who are responsible and split the bill?
well, I mean, it's done
we
as
had
far
to
as
move forward
paying
with
for it.
paying,
Yeah.
yes, so we are coming out of pocket. At this
What do you
point.
hope happens?
Here's the deal. I just hope that Spire does what's right.
Mhm.
We have all of the evidence. We have
Yeah.
reports. They talk about being great advocates for the community.
Yeah.
Just do what's right. I don't want to go to litigation. Nobody
Yeah.
does. And everybody hates
Yeah.
that. And I don't want more than what us and our neighbors deserve.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's just a repaired bridge so we can get to our home.
Yeah. Where's Al Watkins when we need him?
Right.
Say his
Maybe we
name.
need to
Al on the
call him.
Say his name 3 times.
And then speaking of HOAs, I was going to bring this up a couple of weeks ago and we got talking about something else. Do you also know that an HOA can foreclose on your house
I did not know that.
for you not making your
Yeah.
$200 a
Check
month
this
or
out.
$400 a year?
Put a lien on your
Yeah.
house?
Okay.
I had no idea.
What a
They
great
foreclose on it,
topic.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I'm sure,
When we
have you always
first
known
started-
this?
Yeah. Well, yes, but I never dealt with it. But when we first started doing your show, I was literally in the heat of representing a seller, and I couldn't talk about it because it was still in litigation, but I was representing a seller that had gone through almost 2 years of hell with their HOA association here in the area. And they were in a bitter lawsuit with each other, and they had foreclosed on the house. And so it was over some late, I think, couple late years of payments, and then they started penalizing them. So the penalties, and they can assess the penalties to whatever they want them to be. And so the penalties were starting to be outrageous and add up. And then it became an emotional war between the two of them. So it was literally like War of the Roses, homeowner HOA edition.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was the most insane.
But what is
The
a
Karen
judge?
edition.
What does a judge say? Does a judge go, no? This, we're not giving you their house because you won't pay $200?
No, they have a lot of power.
Do they really?
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Unbelievable.
Pam
So,
says
yes.
yes. I was on an HOA and
Well, there you
people
go.
were not paying their HOA dues for a while, and we put liens on their property.
And not that there's not good things about an HOA, because somebody
Correct.
has to control the neighborhood, and it's the idea is it's to preserve the value for all
Correct.
the neighbors. But then there's bad seeds.
Yeah.
too. There's people that get power hungry. This particular deal, the HOA was even allegedly crushing some of the potential resale options for these people. So it was literally became like this crazy
Oh my
battle
Lord.
between the two. And we were trying to close. This was the second buyer that we had. And the day of closing, they trumped up something else and caused
Unbelievable.
closing
Isn't this
delay.
interesting?
And
Because
yeah,
our
it was-
some of our comments, we have people who absolutely love homeowners associations and people who hate them
Yeah.
all at the same time.
I'm going to take Joel up on his offer.
Joel Crater, for our
Joel.
listeners who can't read or are following on different platforms, let me know if you need a loan for the road. I run a charity for rich people.
What about broke people?
What
That's
about
us.
non-rich people?
Joel's funny. Kathy, does it matter to you when people are looking at a house, whether or not it's an HOA? Like me personally, I will never live in an HOA again. I will never do it. I'm not ever going to do that. Or do people have
She has an
strong
issue with
feelings either
authority.
way?
Easy
We
to
have a
say that,
few
right?
people, very few people, but if you've had an issue with an HOA before, then those are typically the ones that say, I'll never do it again.
I've not
So
personally
there's
had an
little
issue, but
things like that people don't realize. I lived in, a nice neighborhood in Weldon Spring years ago. And, people that had trucks or cars that had the name of their business on the side of it, you cannot park those. And that's the same in a lot of
That's
neighborhoods.
good.
it's like
You
that in my
cannot park
neighborhood.
those in your neighborhood.
I'm
You cannot
sorry,
park them
but
on your
that's good.
driveway. Well, see,
That's
there you
good.
go.
No, I don't
So-
consider that to be good. I mean,
I
Eric,
consider it to
if
be
you-
good,
if
depending
you-
on the subdivision.
if you own, let's say, a concrete company, I'm not saying you're driving home some concrete filled truck, but you
Maybe
just
you
have,
will.
or if you're a realtor and you have your name on the side of your
Considered a
car,
commercial vehicle, and it cannot be parked on the driveway.
exactly.
Well, how would you like to live in a subdivision with an unseaworthy boat in the middle of the
Right.
of the
I-
yard?
That is the protection of
And I
HOA.
get that
Exactly.
too.
Exactly.
And some people and that makes a big difference too. But like in my subdivision or in my community, you can't even have an at-home business. They don't allow any at-home businesses, no matter what it is.
How does Lake St. Louis work? If you pay, because that's an HOA over there, do you pay for the whole lake, or is it just a little small part of it so you can manage your
There's
community
the lake
better?
associations,
Okay.
and part of Lake St. Louis is not part of that. Part of it is. So you got to make sure not everybody has lake rights in Lake. St.
Damn,
Louis.
read the fine print on
Just so you
everything.
know.
Not everybody has lake
No,
rights.
sir. No, sir. So you need to make sure you know which side of the street you're on.
How pissed off would you be if you close and you say, "Oh, by the way, you can't go in the lake. Have a nice day."
Yeah, but
I mean,
your real estate
Damn.
agents would be telling you.
Well,
that,
not really.
right?
There's a lot of new people that don't necessarily know that either. But yeah, you should always ask those questions if that's important to you. And then there's the additional neighborhood HOA.
Okay.
There's you're talking about the municipality
Yeah.
rules and restrictions, and then there's the homeowners association.
Okay.
That is a smaller group of people. Usually you're electing those people.
Okay.
They run a couple of years and change over, but
We were talking about HOAs and commercial vehicles being outside your house or boats or whatever. We were down visiting some friends in Houston, and in their neighborhood.
Mhm.
So it's a neighborhood, and each house probably has 3 acres plus.
Right.
every single one of them is allowed to run a commercial business out of their home
because they make money doing it. Yeah.
And there's probably 60.
Did you say
every single one.
home is on 3 acres of land?
Yeah, every home.
In Houston, Texas. But you drive by, there's a business right now. You drive by, there's a business. These people opened up an event space in their backyard. Staging company with a warehouse. It's pretty cool idea. I've never seen anything like that around here.
Houston has some different.
Kansas City, Missouri, there's a subdivision right out of Liberty that every single one of those guys is a truck driver. And they all have semi-tractor trailers in their front yard.
Yeah, it would make sense, I guess.
And huge garages too, Vic. I mean, monster garages too.
Those are warehouses.
I've heard that before, Donna.
They are.
Yeah, I do see it. One of our viewers, listeners said, Kathy, you resemble Sandra Bullock.
Heard it a couple times.
Have you really heard that?
You do. I'd never
that
thought
and Marie Osmond. I used to get Marie Osmond.
She's your wife. Do you see Sandra Bullock, Steve?
No. What's the politician that ran for vice president?
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin. Put some glasses on.
Get your Palin glasses.
I need glasses over here.
Yeah. Sarah Palin.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun on Halloween.
I did. I won a costume contest.
Did you really? Nice.
Palin one year.
I would just hope that real estate agents would know and be reading the terms, but you know them better than anybody. And once again, I mean, we're having fun and we're talking about some of these things, but you have questions. Give Steve and Kathy a call, 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD. You can get Steve at New American Funding when it comes to anything mortgage related. Once again, people are asking questions, trying to find out. Heck, even Lizzie told me today her son-in-law is trying to get a property through you guys right now as well. So how much inventory is actually there right now?
Here we go.
Actually ticked back up again a little bit.
To what?
500.
That's 500 homes available for sale in the St. Louis metropolitan area. I do, and it's interesting as you look at some of those stats, it's different in different parts of the country. It's just in the St. Louis area. There's not a lot there, but
it's a really odd year. We had a really slow start to the spring. So it's almost like we're now starting to feel a little bit of the spring market. We do have, bits and pieces of houses that are not moving as fast or getting as many offers as you would think we have. And then we have other houses that are crazy lines.
Okay, let's talk about that.
We had one last week, guys.
Listen to this. This is crazy.
I can't talk addresses or say sex, but because it's not closed yet.
Okay.
It was near $1 million, under $1 million.
Okay.
Right under $1 million listed.
20 offers plus.
Yeah.
Well over 300,000 more than.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
If you're okay,
so this home could be going for 1.2, 1.3.
Stop there for a second.
It closes
before you go any farther. So you said it's about under $1 million, but 300,000 more. So if you go into the housing market right now in St. Louis, is it safe to say? So if I see a $200,000 house, I need to put another $60,000 on that to make sure that I'm in the war to get this house.
The same equation. Of
Am I right? Right.
But then again, I was doing comps for a client that's coming up in Florissant. And there was a house that I wanted to use as a comp. It hadn't closed yet. It's a pending. And pending doesn't show what it's under contract for, right? It doesn't show what it's sold for until it closes.
Yeah.
So I called the agent and tried to pull a little information out of her. And she said, what? She said that house did not. I go, I'm assuming it went under contract in a couple of days. I'm assuming it had multiple offers. She said, actually, it did not. So here we just had the extreme, literally the same day when we have all these contracts coming in on this one that is actually priced way higher.
Yeah.
We have this other agent saying, well, we have a cute little house here in Florissant that's at a much more affordable price for most people.
Yeah.
And although we did good and we sold it and we got right at list is what she told me, we did not have multiple offers.
But isn't it all about the location sometimes?
Sure. Yeah.
Location,
amenities.
It's the amenities. That's why even though you hear these things about this market being insane, especially just for 3 years, as a seller, don't cut yourself short and not do the few extra little things to do to try to create that.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say that you, as a buyer, you are getting frustrated and this thing is like all offers we'll look at all offers on Saturday. I was told that this is not ethical, that going in as the realtor representing this guy saying, all right, we have $30,000 over. but it's contingent that you close on this today, that you sign off on this today, and being very uber aggressive. Is that something that you can? That's not that. There's no ethical problem with that whatsoever. Saying I don't care about your Saturday people.
No,
I'll give you another 30,000.
Ethical situation. It's that you're trying to walk that fine line of, is my aggression going to get me to win, or is my aggression going to turn those people off? That's really the fine line you're walking.
Yeah.
And I'm saying going into year 3, we're seeing a lot more of, screw it, I'm going for the aggression.
Right. And you have nothing to lose.
What we did before, because before it was like, oh, I better follow the rules. What if the seller doesn't get pissed off that I do this? Now they're like, no, I'm going to give it this offer anyway, and respond tonight. They don't have to respond.
Yeah. Prices coming down? Or are they going up? What do you see?
Well, the one we just sold went up.
It just went up.
And good for them.
Here's what I think is interesting too.
Are you allowed to say the county of where that home was listed just under?
It's right around.
It's St. Louis County.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I would say we just had a topic of our meeting the other day of that. Now, what was I thinking? Oh my gosh, we're talking about prices going up. Oh, yeah, that the mindset of buyers have to be that the asking price is your entry price, and that's why the newer buyers are still getting crushed because they haven't been kicked around enough.
Yeah.
To be able to,
that makes sense.
Sounds brutal,
to reconcile that. What do you mean they're asking $250? I'm offered $250, and they're like insulted.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Well, that's fair. I think that's fair from the buyer.
This is going to that really nice restaurant knowing that you're going to have your gratuity added into that.
I think it is kind of a big.
No, it's like when you go and buy lobster at market price. You don't know what it's going to be in the end.
I think
you just have to be ready to be paying a lot of money.
It's a bit of a bitch slap. It's a bit of a bitch slap.
It's hard for people.
I think there needs to be rules for buyers. I mean,
I don't think so.
No,
the world isn't fair. We know
no rules.
right?
All right.
No,
why should there be rules for buyers? To me,
but that's what sets market price. Market price is what a buyer's willing to pay for it.
That's exactly right. And you know what? If you have a home and people are bidding on it, and there's a bidding war, and you're getting $500,000 over asking price, good for you. And as a buyer, there's a couple things that people have to do. People, I think, have to have their ducks in a row before you start looking.
Oh my gosh.
Before you start
100%.
looking. And I will tell you guys what, most people, including myself, have no idea what to even do or how to prepare or what the lender might ask for. And if people don't have their ducks in a row and they don't have everything lined up and they come into a situation like this, they're going to lose.
Let me ask you this. What is the main industry? Right. I mean, you guys see it. So how does St. Louisans afford a $600,000 house that used to be $200,000 and I'm serious, a few years ago? What is the industry that a person that's going to buy a $200,000 house for $600,000?
How about the example they gave us when you have 20 different people offering well over $1 million?
I mean, is it a night line worker at Amazon or what? Where is
it? People that have not moved in a long time and they have a lot more
equity in their house
to put down on the 600,000, right?
Gotcha.
So now they've got $100,000 or $150,000 to put down. So it's not necessarily,
But still, now they go mortgage.
So damn interesting.
Now they're mortgage for.
I ran into a little article that talked about shadow consumers, aren't they? Buyers and sellers. And it does feel like there is that, because even though we saw a lull going into this season, as soon as the right house comes on the market, they materialize. So there are people that are just sitting there waiting for the right house to come.
Yeah.
That are not necessarily out there putting a new loan application. So you're not seeing the loan applications go up and that kind of stuff. So they're not really counting that.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden we see a house like the one we put up and you've got 20 people.
Okay.
There would have been 25 offers at least, but some of the people were basically like, hey, if my person's topping as this, is it even worth my time? And we're like,
good question. That is such a good question.
And by the way, this
happens a lot.
You're not telling people, hey, we think it's a great idea. Go offer more money. You're just advising people, listen, this is what's happening in the market.
Be ready.
And what's
Be
funny,
ready. We're telling you what's happening. If you offer this, this is probably what's going to happen. This is what people are doing to get homes.
Right. Oh, I thought it was interesting too, is that it's hard even for agents, guys. I'll be completely honest with you. It's a free-for-all a little bit out there. So when we're trying to price something, pricing is going by history.
Yeah.
What you don't know, that missing equation is what the buyers are going to think about the property and what they're willing to pay. So it's interesting that that one house I was talking about, 2 agents that showed it that live in that neighborhood actually sent feedback saying how ridiculously priced the asking price was.
Wow.
That it was never going to sell for this, yada, yada,
A little bit of egg
yada.
on their face, right?
When here we came with hundreds of thousands more than what they thought, because they can't comprehend it because they live in that neighborhood.
Yep. Well,
They're still living.
I bet
what
they're going to
they
be
know
putting
from the
their
past.
houses up for sale
It
soon.
could have been because Experienced Realty Partners had
Well,
it
that
too.
too.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever
That
seen
does make a difference. I will
Steve? Have
say.
you ever seen? I looked.
And then-
I am definitely not an expert in finance,
and we'll let you go right after this question.
but have you ever seen an instance? And I've seen this on Zillow now, and I know that's not the place to do your research, but where you're like, okay, the market, it has that line, and it's go give buck choice a little bit, and then in the last 2 years, you've seen house prices go whoop. Have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, that cannot be a real market, right?
No, I've never seen anything like that as far as home values are concerned. I've never seen anything like the interest rates have done that fast.
And they still are buying them.
Yeah.
It's what planet are we living on?
I don't know anymore, man.
Yeah,
I
these are
don't know.
UFOs. It's UFOs.
It is. We appreciate you guys jumping in today. Once again, if you want to give Steve a call about the mortgage industry, you can do so. His phone number is 314-374-0770. That's 314-374-0770, New American Funding. And of course, if you have any questions regarding real estate, give Kathy and her team a call. It's so simple. They're going to advise you. They're not going to be somebody that's not there for you. Experienced Real Estate Partners, expect to be moved. 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD. I've known you for a long time. I never saw Sandra Bullock, and now I see it, Kathy.
I know. Once you
Go
see it, you can't
figure.
stop seeing it.
Yeah, guys, have it. Cancel.
That's a good thing. I mean, that's a
CancelThisShow.com.
compliment.
Hey, still to come, guys. Come up.
Thanks, guys.
By the way, if you need any,
bank account.
if you need any gummies, marijuana products, you can grab the cabinet on the way out. They're right there.
They got love gummies.
Green light.
Some samples.
No idea.
Okay.
There's samples there.
Come back next week and let us know how they
Green
work.
light will be on at 9:30. Green light dispensary. We come back. Tabitha will have her tabs take regarding some Amendment 2 rights. Plus, go figure, Moms for Liberty being put on an FBI terror list. You can't make this stuff up. The Southern Poverty Law Center. We'll break it down after this 2-minute break. Please check out our partners, including Kathy Helbig's real estate company. Back with more right after this.
You want to see the
House has the largest selection of solid wood with the hottest new styles. Real furniture that's built to last, like our solid bedrooms, living rooms, and dining from Kincaid. Our volume enables us to save you a lot of money, especially during our solid wood sale. Plus, get free financing, fast free delivery, and free in-home design. So for solid wood, sweet styles, and solid service since 1964, shop over 3 football fields of furniture at Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
Jonathan, what does make Rockwood so special?
Rockwood, we carbonize it higher than anybody else does. So we're cooking out everything that produces ash, smoke, anything like that. It gives you a lot more control over the temperature, a lot more control over the fire, and it's 100% Missouri product.
All right, where can people get it?
It's at 100 plus locations around St. Louis, any Deerberg, Straub's, meat markets, wine and cheese stores, hardware stores, you name it, we're around St. Louis. Just check the website.
And good charcoal should be able to break apart in your hands like
absolutely,
Rockwood does,
yeah.
right?
If you can't break it apart by hand, it's not charcoal yet. It's still wood. They didn't do the job, so make sure it can break apart by hand.
All right, get your Rockwood charcoal. Let's talk roofs. Voted best roofing pro in all of St. Charles County, RJR and Associates Roofing has been protecting people from the chaotic Missouri weather for over 20 years. Business and homeowners, whether you need to patch a leaky roof or it's just time for a completely new one, RJR has got you covered. Just call our buddy Ron today at 314-852-5074. That's 314-852-5074.
Marco, wait, What, no response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's cancelthisshow.com. Back for hour number 2. I'm Vic Faust with Tap of the Hassle. Eric Johnson, Lizzie Sparks in studio, taking care of all of the live chat for the live portion of the show. Of course, we are a live podcast Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website at cancelthisshow.com. You can pick up whatever platform you want right there. And of course, you can also go there and listen to it, just like the traditional podcast works. We put that on the show as soon as the show gets done. But it's there about 20 minutes after the show. You can check it out on the audio platform as well. You can jump in on several platforms as well to talk to us. Lizzie, you always got your fingers going. Nobody does it better than you. What platforms can people jump in on and get their live chat kicking?
It is Facebook is the most lively. However, YouTube is today really kicking it up with the new listener, Greg, and other people, as well as Rumble. We had the first Twitch person on yesterday.
All right, fantastic. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll talk with Greenlight Dispensaries, the number one marijuana dispensary company in the state of Missouri. By the way, we'll have some stats for you that'll blow your mind in regards to I'm sure there'll be market correction at some point, but right now there is so much money going in to that industry. We'll talk about that when we come back. We did have a situation, Tabs Tate coming up in just a moment, but we've also got something that's just blowing my mind when it comes to what's happening with the Moms for Liberty being put on the Southern Poverty Law Center's FBI watch list as a terrorist group. Moms for Liberty, this is a parents' rights group that is dealing with this situation right now, all because they were trying to stand up for their kids' rights. They're being put at the top of a hate and extremism report. They said that Moms for Liberty is a group that needs to be watched because of what they do. They're included with neo-Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan.
Well, the FBI warned about, remember, parents at school board meetings last year. They called that domestic terrorism. Last year, the year before, they were talking about parents coming to school board meetings, being disruptive, threatening teachers, that now they are also domestic terrorists. So it doesn't surprise me that this happened. But you know what? When you use the word liberty as part of your name, I mean, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know clearly? If they support liberty, then they must be terrorists.
And we all need to pray for my granddaughter, who is named for that exact reason. Her name is Liberty, for freedom and all of that. And so far, no one in our circles have been mean to her about that name, but it'll be interesting when she goes to school.
Okay, how about this for a stat? I'm a big stats guy. Numbers don't tell the full story, but they do tell some of the story. And where there's smoke, there's fire. This group, the Southern Poverty Law Center, had 733 hate groups on their list in 2021. That list number went up to 1,225 last year. Are there really that many new hate groups, or is it that the SPLC does not like people standing up for liberty, does not like people standing up for conservatism, Christian values, morals, and things of that nature? Or if you say something in a school setting or a school group setting, you'll be punished for it. Eric took time out. He went to a school board meeting some time ago. He saw some of these things that are happening. And it is interesting because after this new SPLC report, quote, they said that schools have been on the receiving end of ramped up and coordinated hard right attacks.
Okay, enough.
That's how you're being described right now.
Enough.
If you go to a meeting like Eric did, how dare you?
Enough. Another. This is another example for private schools. Period. I'm sorry.
Some private schools.
All
Not all. Not all.
private schools.
Not all. Just like Scott Fawn told us when he joined the show.
Here,
some of those private schools are more liberal than others.
Yeah,
okay,
he did, but
fine.
his main
Here you go.
point was
Here you go.
Charter schools.
If I'm Lizzie and my in Liberty wants to go to school, and her name is Liberty for a reason, and it's like I'm going to go find a school that is representative of my values, my family's values. If I have a voucher, then I don't have to worry about the money. And I don't have to go to Parkway Central, or I don't have to go to Pattonville, or I don't have to go to any of these liberal institutions of brainwashing. This, what Vic just said, I've had enough of.
Community
I've had
schools,
enough.
Eric.
Yes.
Because I would rather go to a school where the school board looks at you as, I am here to serve you. You are my client. I am here to serve. I'm not here to serve a union. I'm here to serve you. Miss Sparks.
Those are community schools. I am 100%.
I am done with what he just said. You literally
have to have
just
your kid
put
in private school these days.
You
have
literally
to.
just put a mom in the same category as the KKK. You literally put them in the same category as the Black Panthers. And it's a mom that says, I don't want my kid being taught sexual positions in third grade, and they are a terrorist. This is it, man. Look, I'm a big believer in do whatever the hell you want to do once you get to a certain age. But man, keep your damn transgender crap out of my kid's face.
Yes.
I am here to.
And it's not just transgender.
I'm down with one of many.
It's segregation. It's racism. It's teaching them. Rewriting
At this point, I don't even care what you say anymore, Tabitha, because I think we're at a point. At this point,
no, he didn't mean that.
At this point, we need to have a private school system to where you go into a Schnucks shopping center, and on the end of the shopping center is the Tabitha Hassel higher education.
It's a co-op. I'm telling you.
Whatever. And then all of a sudden, Tabitha Hassel's logo becomes something you go, oh, I really want to send my kid to the Tabitha Hassel school because they have amazing outcome with their kids and not have to worry about Francis Howe or Wentzville or Parkway Central or Ladue or whatever it is, talking to the National School Board Union that is basically filtering all this stuff into your kid's face. I've had enough.
Eric,
I've had enough.
Some of the most educated kids come out of these community co-ops. And again, we've talked about this 1,000 times. These are schools in which people from the community
here's why it'll work.
Come together.
Here's why it'll work. Because what kid, ever heard of Keeping Up with the Joneses? This applies. What kid in the subdivision wants to go to the crappy public school when you have the opportunity with the same vouchers to go to the Tabitha Hassel School of Higher Learning down the street?
It can happen.
And when they come out of the Tabitha Hassel School of Higher Learning, they're not just going to Mizzou, crappy woke colleges. They're going to now higher institutions that will teach you math, science, will teach you accounting, will teach you whatever you want to know.
This can happen in any community. On the comment line, someone, I think we all know who.
I just can't believe.
It can't happen because of money, but it can happen.
It can happen, and it's sacrificing. There's many parents that say they don't want to put their kids in private school because they don't have the money, but then you see them smoking cigarettes and they have a Corvette. It's priorities and sacrifice.
We're talking, who cares? I'm serious. I mean, I hate to say it and be so crass about it. I don't give a damn anymore. Here's the deal.
But there are solutions. Talk about the solutions. If you care, then talk about the
Tabitha Hassel School of Higher Learning. Basically, it's down at Mid Rivers Mall in Mexico Road. Bring your kids here. Bring your $4,000 a year voucher here, and we'll take care of your kid. And we will blow away the competition.
Next week, cancel this School of Higher Studies.
No, I'm serious. If Parson doesn't get on this, we're stupid.
It's not about Parson, Eric.
You're not listening.
This is something.
This is.
Take it away
We're
from
going to
the
have
public
Parson
schools.
on the show the next 2 weeks, and our first question will be from
And
you.
I'm going to say, Governor Parson,
Take it out of the hands of the government.
Why are the ladies of liberty or whatever the hell they call
Moms
them?
of Liberty.
Moms of Liberty. Why are they terrorists? And why aren't we doing something about that? Why aren't we saying we've had enough? I don't care to go to a place that has even an inkling of a chance to show my sixth grader how to have a good sexual position, how to do cowboy style, how to do reverse cowboy style.
Disgusting.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a library that has books in it that show that kind of crap.
None of
it.
us do, but I'm saying there are options. There are people who listen to this show who are part of community school co-ops.
Hey, Drew, you're right. Private schools are expensive. Why don't we give the kids the vouchers that will pay those schools to bring their prices down, and that gives the ability of a mom who's in a subdivision somewhere in Chesterfield, St. Charles, St. Louis County, wherever it is, for their kid to know when they graduate, they have an amazing education.
Yeah, the school's never
Come
supposed to
on,
push
man.
personal values, just as Greg says. The home and parents are lost. My parents taught me about the birds and the bees. Correct.
And this
Same
is
thing.
common sense. Am I losing my mind?
Why don't you start a community co-op school in
I'm
your
not
neighborhood?
doing anything, Tabitha. I'm old. I'm over the hill.
No, you're not.
I'm old and I'm not doing anything, but I am sick and tired of our DOJ. Who is it that this came from? Is this on an FBI board somewhere?
No, here's what it is.
DOJ?
No, here's what happens. The Southern Poverty Law Center is a group that looks at, quote, terrorist groups in the United States and who the FBI should be concerned with. And for whatever reason, the FBI is giving power to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Representative Matt Gaetz is even saying right now, we're going to have hearings on why this committee is one that the FBI has given power to decide who gets put on this list. And as we know, if people aren't paying attention, the Moms for Liberty.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard they're bad.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever listened or looked at what they've done? No, but I've heard they've been put on a hate list. Well, maybe you should check out what they're about first before you start spreading rumors.
And that's why these organizations, even the NAACP, who might have had a place in this society back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, are ridiculous. They're mindless. They are literally calling a place like Florida a racist state when more African Americans are moving to Florida and succeeding in Florida. You have literally just made yourself an illegitimate organization. And we're listening to these clowns?
No, I
Come
get
on,
it.
man.
Well,
Come
this
on.
is a subject we'll continue to follow as well because
it pisses me off.
And it should piss you off. It should piss all of us off.
The Tabitha Hassel School of Higher Learning.
That the United States of America, founded on all of our values and morals, and it wasn't perfect, but you can't start tearing apart how this country came about, who people also like to say was, at least one point in time, the greatest country in the world. You have a group, Moms for Liberty, being put on this list. Shameful. It is horrible. And it probably won't be the end for groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center doing that. But as bad as that is, you've got these issues. We'll continue to follow it. Okay.
Why don't,
it's just common sense.
Before we move on.
It's common sense.
Before we move on, people tell me all the time, well, everybody wants to talk about this is wrong. This is wrong. This is what our government's doing to us. This is what our country is doing to us. But nobody ever talks about the solution.
There is no, I just gave you the solution.
No, you didn't. You didn't let me talk about the solution. There is a
what
solution.
Is it?
No, I literally just gave it to you.
And the solution is, and it's happening all across the country.
Yes.
It's a huge movement right now.
Yes.
Is that parents are getting together, and you don't have to live in the same neighborhood.
Okay, that's one of them.
Parents are getting together,
and
what they are doing is they are coming together.
I like it.
They are each putting in however much money on their own. Eric and I agree with your voucher system.
Yes.
Take the money away from the public schools, and they are taking turns one day a month for these parents. So over 30 days, one parent volunteers to go in and teach these kids. They all supply their own kids with their own equipment. They all follow a curriculum. These kids, there's so much success with what is going on right now.
Here's another thing.
So Vic,
I'm trying to get to your Tabs take, and you just brought this up.
Hold on just a second. Because Tab rock and rolled right there.
She kind of did.
Well, because
she
when we talk about the problems and there are solutions, we are winning battles, and we have to talk about
you
winning
want to know
those
another
battles.
solution?
We are winning
Do
battles.
you want to know another solution or another benefit of this? Now the government does not have to have an agency called the Department of Education anymore.
Yeah, that needs to go.
The only thing it needs to do, it needs to be like a big truant officer. It needs to say, as a parent, you are responsible for having your kid graduate 12th grade at a certain level. I mean, could you imagine that? Could you imagine this is now on the parents' responsibility and it's not on the
Yes,
the
there's
public
only
school?
one issue with what Tabitha was saying.
Okay, here we go.
It comes to certification. And
These schools are certified.
What I'm saying, yeah, but this is a lot.
And they are accredited.
This is a lot more difficult than what it sounds like, though. These aren't just parents from your friends all the time teaching.
It's not difficult. You can teach your kids at home.
I agree with Tab. I agree with Tab. I agree.
Vic,
I've looked into it. It's not.
Tabitha, I agree with you.
There are people who listen who talk about it.
I agree with Jay also. Jay, you're right.
Nobody's a bigger homeschool believer than I am.
Yes.
Because some of the most intelligent kids I've ever met were homeschooled.
Exactly that.
Do you think Barack Obama is sending his kids?
But it's not as easy as,
come on, man.
Come on,
Do you really think that Barack Obama, if he lived in St. Louis?
I'll teach him for a month. Oh, yeah, you teach him for a month. It's not like
a plan.
that.
But if for people who care enough about their kids' education, they will come up with a plan, and it's happening
But you have to get certified if you're going to go teach kids. You have to get
Anybody can homeschool at home, and you do not need certification.
You can do it with an iPad these days.
Homeschooling and some co-ops do not need certifications.
They do not need
at least in the
And
state
good
of Missouri.
luck getting into a college if you haven't had certification.
Wrong.
That's absolutely no offense to you. That's absolutely wrong. Do you know
I
lot
have
of these
a pilot's
kids,
license because of an iPad, Vic.
A lot of these kids
To
not
homeschool,
only
you have to be certified.
No, you do not have to be certified.
Vic, you need to do your research.
No, you don't.
Vic, you
Okay,
gotta
my
research.
homeschool friend said that they had to fill out like a ton of paperwork to be a homeschool
That absolutely
teacher.
is not true.
So you're telling me that you don't have to fill out paperwork anymore?
There are kids, and I know the parents of these kids who are definitely not filling out any certification paperwork, who are homeschooling their kids. There are listeners to this show who take part in these co-ops, and a lot of these people, what they're doing is these kids are so intelligent that they're graduating early and they're going to college.
Correct.
Years before
The homeschool family that I
other
know,
kids.
that I spoke at several of these schools. There was one in St. Charles. There was one in Chesterfield. I went and spoke to both schools about what they're doing. And hey, I love what you guys are doing with these classical academies, with this homeschooling, and they're hybrid models too. But my only experience with that is you have to fill out a ton of paperwork. And
maybe they chose
so I'm
to,
glad.
but you don't have to.
I'm telling you right now,
Maybe
school teachers of America, listen to me. Listen to me. This is an opportunity for you to not bitch about getting paid $40,000 a year anymore. You just heard right now on this air. If you are a $40,000, but you are a skilled teacher, you can start a business, apparently, that you basically go and start one of these schools, community schools like Tabitha's talking about, charge the parents the money for it, make those kids so educated, you will have kids coming from around the region. If you're a $40,000 a year teacher, become an entrepreneur, put together a private school of your own, use iPads, use whatever resources you have, and make a business out of this.
Okay,
I'm telling you.
Somebody on the chat line is saying that exactly
we got
what
a live
you're
interview
saying.
coming.
Yes.
Her name is Paula,
Yes.
and she is a certified educator.
Do it.
And she wants to do it.
Do it.
And she should do it.
Keep us
She's a
posted.
Christian, and we need to talk to her
Yes.
and maybe help back her because
Yes.
she's right here in Missouri.
The
and
seed
she's
has to be
fabulous.
laid. The seed has to be
I
laid.
am all for it. Just like the old days. Don't you think we're going back to some of the old ways when we actually did things right?
Yes.
Yes.
A one room school.
We can all
right.
agree on that today, except
It's
for
now,
I agree with that.
it's now time for our tab take.
here we go.
Tab's take.
I like the end.
Erica, okay.
It's going to take me a while to get used to that, but Alex did a fantastic job. So I'm curious what you guys think. If you commit a non-violent crime, should you be allowed to own a weapon? Or should you fall under that rule that says, nope, you are a criminal, you are a felon, you cannot own a
You
weapon?
should be allowed to own a weapon, but I've already got my own issues with the fact, because we're getting ready to talk to Green Light Dispensary, you can't get a medical card, marijuana card right now, and have a license for a gun.
I've heard
at the
that's a
same
myth.
time.
We'll have to talk
That's
to Green
not a
Light
myth.
about that
That's
because I
not a
don't know. I keep hearing that. People keep asking me. And
No, I
keep
talked
saying,
to Stephen King at Metro
I
Shooting
don't
Supply.
know.
So while I'm upset with that, yes, you should be allowed to have a gun
Okay, so
or a weapon.
last year, the Supreme Court ruled, and this was wild across the country, nationwide, that if you are a non-violent criminal, you can own a weapon. In the past, if you committed a felony, even if it was non-violent, if you were sentenced, even if it was a misdemeanor, and you were sentenced to more than a year in jail, you could not own a weapon. So last year, the Supreme Court overruled that, and they said, yes, if you are a non-violent criminal, even if you are sentenced to more than a year in jail, you can still own a weapon. Well, there was a guy in Pennsylvania who committed welfare fraud. He accepted $2,300 and something in SNAP benefits under false pretenses. He was given a 3-year jail sentence, which was reduced down to probation. He was denied in Pennsylvania in a federal court system of being able to own a weapon. The judge at the time, several months ago, said, no, sir, you committed a crime. Yes, it was not a violent crime, but you still committed a crime. We are going to uphold that you cannot own a weapon because you were sentenced to more than 1 year in prison. He was sentenced with 1 felony and a couple of misdemeanors. Well, yesterday, the Federal Court of Appeals upheld the Supreme Court decision that said, yes, as an American citizen, under our Second Amendment Constitution rights, you are allowed to have a weapon, own a weapon, even if you have committed a felony, as long as it is a non-violent felony, even as long as it's a non-violent crime.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the people, of course, who are advocates who want to stop you from owning a gun, they're just going absolutely nuts over this.
Yeah. Well, to me, a gun has nothing to do with someone's personality. I think that's the problem I have. However, I do think we have to take a look at all this gun stuff, because this morning I'm looking at Channel 2 News flyovers, and there's people walking around downtown St. Louis with assault rifles and whatnot. And I'm thinking to myself, I have to challenge myself to figure out what kind of a society would be a good one for everybody to live in. It's one thing to say, yeah, I have a felony for some kind of accounting problem as a white collar crime, and I can't have a gun. But you can, as a 19-year-old thug walking around downtown St. Louis, you can have a machine gun because it's open carry.
Well, you can't have a machine gun in open carry.
Yeah, you can. Well, according to this video footage that I saw, police will not stop these people because you can have open carry downtown St. Louis. So I always think to myself, that doesn't seem right.
Well, we're in an open carry state. You cannot open carry a machine gun.
How safe do you feel if you see a little, a 19-year-old walking around Washington?
I feel fine
Washington
with it.
Street.
I am perfectly fine with it.
Really?
Because you know what? In this country, in the United States,
really?
We have every right to open carry. If he's not carrying an illegal weapon, if he is legally allowed to own that weapon, he has every right to carry it openly.
Okay.
If he's legally carrying. And we already know the stats against that in St. Louis it's pretty much
79 murders, 79 shooting murders this year in St. Louis.
Where we run into the problem is that if the police were to stop this guy and say, why are you open carrying? All of a sudden, they're going to get hit with an ACLU violation.
That's true.
Because then they have violated his rights.
Yep,
because
that's
they're
true.
going to say, well, he's a younger black male. They're stopping me. They're asking me about my legal gun status, and they shouldn't. But I'll tell you what, that's why I'm all for stop and frisk.
I am too.
But what about... Okay.
I am all for stop and frisk. You know what? The worst.
That seems like the same kind of lawsuit.
The worst thing we ever did in this country was take away stop and frisk. If you see someone and they look like they are suspicious, it doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. As a police officer, you should be able to stop. You should be able to ask them, hey, what do you have in your pocket? Do you have a gun? And they should be able to check to see if they are legally allowed to carry that gun. If we brought back stop and frisk, crime would plummet.
Well, let me just say this.
Let
me just say this. I don't think that a family from West County feels safe going to the Cardinal game with a bunch of gang members.
Those aren't people open carrying, Eric. Those are people.
No, you're not hearing me.
Those are not open carrying people.
Think of this from Bill DeWitt's standpoint. You're not hearing me. If a family of 5 from St. Chesterfield wants to go to the Cardinal game and he walks outside the game afterwards and there's 4 gang members with open carry guns, that's your prop. There's your dynamic that you can't talk about. You see what I mean? Now the Cardinals lose money. Now St. Louis loses money.
But
so
that's a totally different.
It is different, but it's the same
part of it.
Yeah, I agree, Tabitha. If it's nonviolent, you should be able to go ahead and purchase a gun. If
I agree.
It's nonviolent. And when we have Stephen King from Metro Shooting Supply on, we will ask him his thoughts on the same matter, because he is a guy that has been very adamant about not selling guns to everybody, the FBI refusing to come take a look at all the people who've tried to get guns, and at the same point in time trying to deal with everybody going, okay, well, we can't get a gun. Is there a reason why you were turned down? Yeah, we'll find out. Okay, time to switch gears a little bit. It's our Weed Wednesday segment. We love it. With our friend Emily Williams today from Greenlight Dispensary. Emily, you rocked it the last time you were on with us. You know your stuff. Cannabis is a massive, massive, massive success in the state of Missouri. Have you seen some of the newest numbers that have come out regarding how much cannabis is actually being sold in the state of Missouri? And of course, we hope it's all with Greenlight Dispensary, with your amazing locations all around the state, the number one, the biggest, and of course, the best prices. Emily Williams, good morning. Thanks for jumping in today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
Have you seen some of those numbers that we were talking about when it comes to cannabis and how successful it's been in the state of Missouri?
Yes, I think it's Mo Greenway. They release something I think once a month, pretty updating everybody on all the numbers and everything. So it's pretty wild to see how fast we're growing, and yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it. Super cool to watch.
Hey, give us an update with your store, how you guys are doing, what's happening, what people are buying, and just response that you're getting.
Yeah, so this weekend at the Ferguson location, we're having that monthly event that I spoke about last time. So that'll bring a lot of new faces and people through the door. So I'll show you our little flyer. So it has all the information.
Is that the underground event, or
Yep.
what do you call it?
The underground. Yep, this is it. So it's the second weekend of every month. So it'll be Friday and Saturday from 12 to 8, both days.
So at the underground, what can people do, or why is it such a big event to come to from 12 to 8 on Saturday and Sunday? And where will it be held at your store?
Yes, yeah, the Ferguson location. It's 517 South Florissant Road in Ferguson, right in downtown Ferguson. So basically what it's all about is we bring in, I can even show you guys back here, we bring 8 different vendors. Some we've had on our shelves previously, some new ones. We bring them in, and we have this big open area in the back that you'll see. So it's a big kind of extra sales that we have. And these vendors themselves, they set up their own spots.
Can we see that spot again, Emily, as you're talking? That's massive.
So this is our area here. So they set up all throughout these little booths here. And like I said, they kind of make it their home for those 2 days, set it up, put a bunch of information and products out. Sorry if it's starting to rain here. It's super loud in here too. But yeah, so they basically are here to educate you guys on their products. And it's deals for the weekend. It's all cheaper than what it would be on our sales floor. So that's where the deals are at.
I have so many questions. I gotta go. What's the time? What time is it? Is it Saturday? You say?
So it's Friday and Saturday from 12 to 8.
Okay. Man, I have so many questions. Like I was talking.
And by the way, that's 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eric.
I don't know if I'll be up there early.
That's such a great opportunity for people to be able to come in and really get a good look at all of the products in person without having to travel over to a dispensary. They're coming there all together where all of the products are lined up.
Here you go.
I love that.
Here's a question for you. They say the sativa, like Vic and I are like, if you take a sativa, you'll go work out and you'll have all this energy. I heard the other day that you actually don't have this energy, but it somehow makes you more focused. Can you talk to me about, and this is the one that I'm super.
It's not cocaine, Eric.
Tabitha, you're so funny. Can you talk to me about the effect of a sativa in uplifting THC product?
Yeah, absolutely. So sativas, I went into this a little bit last time. So a lot of people think those sativas are going to be like an energy drink.
Yes.
Like you drink a Red Bull and you get up and going, but it's more of like a heady, focusy high. Like it kind of gets you in your mind more. So, depending on what you're smoking or, eating, it'll kind of get you more on the focus side, more on the, more in your head, I guess is the best.
But do you have the feeling like you want to sit in your couch and eat chips because
not with sativas, majority of the time you want to be up and doing stuff. You're ready to go. You know what I mean? You get these ideas in your head. You get thinking. So
all right.
Uplifting, happy high too.
Happy high. I like that.
Happy high.
You're like a happy high.
Yeah,
you're like a walking happy high, Vic.
We're talking with Emily Williams.
That's because he's doing gummies before the show.
Well, I love Greenlight. And of course, Emily Williams does too. She's the general manager at the Ferguson location. Can you talk about what somebody can expect if they come into your store for the first time? I've been into a few of your stores. You guys seem to be pretty open. It's like, hey, welcome in. Let's teach you what you need to know. What are some questions people should ask when they come in?
So basically the main thing that we're trying to focus on when we get a new person in here is what's your method of consumption? What are you looking to try? Because not everybody's for everything in here. You know what I mean? We have the gummies here. Not everybody wants to wait, an hour and a half to 2 hours for this to kick in. So some smoking's a little bit better. That's more of a quicker high, to combat those symptoms that people are trying to, get help for.
Right.
What's
a quick way to get it into your body if you don't want to smoke?
So tinctures. So tinctures are an oil-based product that you put under the tongue. You keep your tongue anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. The longer, the better. We have that vein under your tongue.
Yep.
It soaks directly into there, and you'll feel it a little bit faster than eating these edibles that have to go through your whole system.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
What's the number one sale that you have now? Is it still joints? Is that do they use
flower?
Do they use that term anymore?
They don't call it joints, Eric.
I'm sorry.
They call it flower.
1987's kind of coming back. But so what's your number one product over there?
So definitely flour. Just like our 3.5 gram bags, 7 gram bags. Sometimes we have half ounces and ounces available. So flour is definitely our, quickest out the door product.
Yeah.
We want to let everybody know, we'll show you a coupon here. You can download this coupon. You can take it into any Greenlight dispensary and you can get a discount on your first purchase. And it's also a way for them to track how they're finding, Greenlight. Are they finding it through Cancel This? It's also an opportunity for you to take advantage of a coupon and go and use it. And of course, keep us posted. We know we've had a couple of people come and purchase already. They've told us about your staff being extremely knowledgeable, and we love hearing that. We're talking right now with Emily Williams. She is the general manager from Greenlight Dispensary in Ferguson, a super popular place, about the underground event that's coming up this Friday and Saturday, 12 to 8 p.m. What are some of the advantages, again, for people who may be joining us regarding coming to this underground event as opposed to the rest of the week?
Yeah, so number one, I definitely say the deals. That's where the deals are at for the weekend. And then I'd say second is definitely the education back here, because you're speaking directly to, you could be talking to the head grower of the company, the head, lab technician. You could be talking to anybody from that company that's there. That firsthand education that sometimes doesn't make it down the line to us.
What's your favorite manufacturer of gummies? Just across the board. Do you have one?
I'd say Greenlight.
Yeah.
Not going to say someone else. Okay.
Well, we've got some Greenlight gummies in the cabinet.
I know where they are,
take those home with you. Hey, I've offered it to anybody. We've got them over there. By the way, I wanted to give you that update too, because we are very informational when it comes to some of these stories as well. The recreational marijuana sales that I've spoken about, to this date, $350 million in marijuana sales in the state of Missouri so far this year. And there's a projected record of over or at $1 billion in this 2023 year. That blows my mind.
In Missouri?
In Missouri.
Oh, my God.
Very popular. I took some of your products out to a golf tournament last Friday. And from what I understand, for the people that manned the table, there were people constantly stopping and talking about the products. People, I don't think people realize how many people use these types of products until you're actually in that situation. And we see, Emily, do you get people coming in to inquire about buying products, but they're concerned that they will no longer be able to own their weapon?
Yes. Yeah. It's a very, very common question we get here, especially, when we first started and we just opened up. That was, people were just stopping in just to see if, just to ask that question, see if it was a possibility for them to still be able to get a medical card in the state.
And what's the answer to that? I don't even know. I've heard so many things.
That's a federal law.
Is it a federal law? So if you have a medical card, you cannot purchase THC products. Is that correct?
Unless you use your medical card. So if you use
I
don't understand the law.
If you go on the Missouri, because like I said, it was a very, very common thing. We're in Missouri. So if you go on the Department of Health website, we actually had something printed out saying that, patients are protected You have your medical card and stuff like that. It actually came, I wish I had it back here with me, but if you go, it's a little clause that they have printed out right on the Missouri medical marijuana site. I think the Department of Health and Senior Services. But yeah, it's just something that like we always, we're here to educate on, and we always say like just don't if a medical patient you already had your firearm, just don't keep them together. You know what I mean? Like don't have them together. That's the one thing we always educate here on.
And you don't need a medical card anymore.
Not anymore. No.
So now that you don't need a medical card anymore, surely the government cannot restrict you owning a weapon because you don't have a medical card.
Yeah. So
I don't even see how it's relevant any longer.
Yeah. I was told by a gun shop owner the other day, don't do it. Just as Jerry just said, the feds will revoke you. It's so interesting to feel.
So if you have, let's say I have a weapon and I also have a pack of gummies, let's say in my glove compartment, are they going to potentially take my weapon away from me and not allow me to own weapons, even if and I don't have a medical card?
So based off all of the education that anything that I've read, Missouri is not, what's the word? What's the way to phrase this? Missouri's not hard on like that kind of stuff, but it also depends on where, I feel like it depends on where you're at. And, cause some places in Missouri aren't for, marijuana,
right. No, that's true.
No, you know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, it's still a federally illegal substance. You know what I mean? So, you have to look at that side of it, but you have to also look at, we're in Missouri, and the gun laws here. So, but like I said, if you go on the Department of Health, website, there's a little clause that we have printed out right in our lobby, that just says, Missouri medical patients, are protected.
It is interesting. And I'll add one other thing. When I was in a gun shop last week, they have posted on the front door, if you have weed on you or if you smell like weed, you will not be allowed entry into the building.
Yeah. Or anything on your shirt. Like if you have anything on your shirt that you'll be booted.
But if you drink a fifth of Jack and walk in there smelling like a brewery,
100%. There's no, well, it's up to discretion, but there's no law about alcohol.
Well, and due to HIPAA law, they're not even like the government. Nobody's allowed to ask you.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when you're purchasing a gun, I'm sorry, you're not required to give that information.
They're counting on people volunteering information.
Right.
And that's what unfortunately most people do.
Right.
Yeah. I think the question on there is like, are you consuming any illegal substances, so like that's for that, you're a medical patient,
right.
You're
right. It's not illegal,
but at the federal, level, it's kind of that.
Well, we appreciate it. Emily Williams, you're super knowledgeable. We love you. You're great in this segment. We appreciate this Weed Wednesday segment that we do with Greenlight Dispensaries, the largest in the state, the best prices you're going to find, the best overall products you're going to find, a variety of all kinds of products. And of course, don't forget Friday, Saturday, the underground. Is there a line to get in the building? Is that when you start at 12 to 8? Do first come, first serve give you a better advantage at some of the products?
So we're usually pretty stocked up for that,
okay.
For that first day. We really don't have many issues running out of things. So, but we do have a line. Like a lot of people like to get here right at 12, but we have a great flow in here. We get everybody in, get them their products, and get them out the door to go enjoy them. So,
Emily, we
love it.
We appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you next time. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a great day. Thanks for having me.
All right, Emily Williams. I love checking in with her. She's
so
fantastic.
knowledgeable.
In British Columbia, because when I lived in Seattle, we would just kind of dart up the 100 miles up there. There were these things, and they were like hookah lounges, but you could actually go in there and sample.
Hooker lounges?
No, hookah.
Oh, hookah lounge.
like a hookah.
You're always dirtying things up.
There might be hookers in a hookah lounge, though. There just might be.
Look at the evil in her face right now. She's so evil, like a little evil bug.
She sits up at night waiting.
But you would walk in there and have the hookah pipe, and you'd have they'd give you the thing, and you go in there, and they would put the different types of pot. Do they call it pot flower?
I think you have to call it flower.
Yeah.
Like you're a flower.
That's the politically correct term these days.
It's just a matter of time before you're going to be able to go to these dispensaries and just kind of sit around and go, hey, let me try this. And they give you
There
a little
are
sample.
already places doing that. Not to this level, but there are places in St. Louis now where you can legally bring your products like this and smoke them. Not in the same place, but you can go to Greenlight, buy your products, and go to certain bars, and they have a smoking area for you to use these products.
If you like it, you like it, I guess.
There you go. It makes sense. How about this? This may like people. This is canceltheshow.com, by the way. CNN CEO Chris Licht. It is official. He is out at CNN.
What?
Yeah, he hasn't been there that long, but he was there for a lot of those high profile anchor firings. He did that. He was there and oversaw Donald Trump coming onto their show. And what do you know? After just a little more than a year on the job, you're fired.
You're fired.
He's gone. I almost felt as if he was doing this on purpose to get fired so that he could get the hell off that sinking ship. Because anybody at CNN that has Donald Trump on their network and fired Don Lemon, who represents everything CNN is about, isn't going to be around very long when you fire him and have Donald Trump on your network.
I think this News Nation thing is very interesting. I know I've been kind of lukewarm on it, but I'm going to say this, and I hope that Vic doesn't punch me in the face.
Full disclosure, I haven't watched since I left a Nexstar station.
Chris Cuomo's not bad.
Yeah, he's
my God. What did you just say?
Chris Cuomo's not bad.
Oh, he is.
Something has
awful.
happened to him.
I almost
Something's happened to him.
He's not
News
as bad.
Nation.
Tabitha, you haven't seen him. He's not
I have
as
seen
bad.
him. I watch News Nation. I still watch News Nation.
What?
A family member of mine watches
see
it,
Chris
so I
Cuomo?
see it when
You
it's
see Chris
on.
Cuomo?
Because the reason why
Give me your thought of Chris Cuomo then.
I just gave you my
Okay,
thought. He
well,
is the same liberal
without the
moron that he
flailing
always
around on the
was. Are you kidding me? I have watched. You know what? One thing about
Did you see the segment he did with O'Reilly?
I
was like,
don't even care. He's a complete moron.
oh, Tabitha, be
Eric,
a little bit more open.
He will never change. Do you think somebody? What do they call it? What's that old saying? The leopard changing their spots. This guy has not changed at all. And the only reason why I would ever watch News Nation,
Snake is always still a snake, right?
yeah, because News Nation does a great job of covering cases, cold cases, court cases, different homicides, and I write a crime blog, so I watch it to see if there's
I
any
didn't mean
updates.
to make you upset.
And then they brought in Chris
Damn,
Cuomo, and I'm like,
Tabitha.
what's this fool doing on this channel? And then I realized that News Nation is
All
just
right.
as liberal as all the
So
other
the lemons are going to find a place to go where the anchors kind of go to die, kind of thing, and News Nation could be one of those.
That's
things.
exactly. Don Lemon will be on there next.
I don't know
no
about
doubt in
that.
my mind.
I don't know about that.
No doubt in my mind.
I don't know about that, but it'll be,
That's not. There's no way they're going to reunite those two guys.
It's such a
way in
weird
hell.
station.
They hate each other. Lemon ripped him anyway. They
News
won't be on.
Nation is so
It is
strange.
kind of a weird.
Some of the people wear the same outfit every single day, and I can't quite figure out
What?
why. They do. They wear the same tie, the same. This one guy, I don't know what his name
Are
is.
you sure that it wasn't a tape show that they taped for the week?
Because when I was watching it over the court case of the Idaho homicides, which they
Idaho.
covered very well, and this guy was on there, and he every single time he was on, he had and there's a woman there with the exact same outfit on every single time.
well,
and I,
I
can't
haven't.
figure it
I don't
out.
think I've changed my outfit
It's
in
literally
PRL
the
in the
same
last
dress.
15 years.
They may not. Hey, they may not have a clothing allowance.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Okay.
not Fox News.
It would be like, Vic, if you came in that same maroon shirt every single day, like
This is
every
plum.
day.
This is plum.
Plum, maroon, whatever.
You're just bummed out about the wardrobe. Stop. So, what do you think about News Nation? I got to ask.
I already,
You
I
like
just
it?
told you
Not-
they
not
are as
Chris,
liberal.
not Chris.
Then if for them to bring Cuomo on, and I'll tell you what, he has made some very liberal, progressive comments where then they flip over and they show the producers even rolling their eyes at him. He is a cancer, and now he has invaded News Nation. News Nation sucks just like the rest of them.
There you go, Tabitha Hassel, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to tip your bartenders and waitresses.
I had high hopes for News Nation. I did.
I thought he did a pretty good. I think
but
I
we were
feel,
proven. Eric, he
Okay,
is rotten to the core.
I'm wrong. He sucks.
Well, it all
Thank
started
you.
with CNN.
Thank you.
Tabitha, you.
Now we can move on.
CNN's CEO is gone. Does it really matter? I don't know. There's really not that many people watching CNN.
Do you think I can't watch? I turn on CNN to try to see the other side, and I can't watch it more than like 2 minutes because it's like
not good.
fingernails on a chalkboard.
It's not as bad as MSNBC, but it is.
That's
bad.
true.
Well, they're in a much,
It is bad.
They're in a better spot than CNN though right now with they are because they went so far left. They're in a better spot than CNN from a financial standpoint.
Remember? Do you guys remember? I don't know. A couple months ago, we were all talking about this. I think I may have brought it up where I said I'm starting to see more truth and more conservative points on CNN. And I was getting to the point where I was actually reading some of their, I don't watch CNN, but I was reading some of their articles and I thought, oh my gosh, they're actually telling the truth here. I'm wondering if it's because of this guy that they had brought in. And now they've gotten rid of him because they were telling too much actual truth.
He's gone. So I think it's job security. From what I understand, Ted Turner's just rolling over in his proverbial grave.
Ted Turner came out and spoke about it publicly.
Yeah, he's probably just like what I've built. He's like Dorsey in a way. He kind of built this thing up to be the way it was, and then someone came in and ripped it apart. And CNN, like I told you guys,
to Jack Dorsey on Twitter.
Yeah. What I told you before is I'm like, you guys destroyed something that I thought was very good. You guys used to play it straight. They had a network of CNN in every airport in the country. And for anyone that says that's a bad thing is an idiot. It'd be like saying, oh, well, we're going to rip all of our Starbucks out of every single airport in the country. It was an amazing coup that they had to be that visible for that long. And because of their ideology, they screwed it all up. And they are right that whoever comes in there to run CNN, they literally got to, you know what they need to do? Here's what I would do. If I was the owner of CNN, I would put on the girl of Ipanema and I would just do it for 20 days and say, coming soon, a new CNN. Everyone's fired. But for 24 hours a day, you hear, dun, 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 dun.
I might watch it though.
Yeah, I would
too.
I would
All
watch
right,
it.
put Christmas music on or something.
Yeah. Until they started talking again. But you know why they don't do that,
I mean,
Eric?
that's what Bud Light should do.
They can't do that because they
need a reset.
There's no more disgusting people out there for them to hire. They've got them all.
You're available.
I don't think they would want me.
Yeah,
And
you'd be
thank you
fired in
for
5
calling me
minutes.
disgusting. What's that?
You'd be fired in 5 minutes.
Well, Pam says, just
Before
remember.
I got in the door.
That's how literally, Lizzie, that's how CNN needs to do it. They need to go off the air and say, we are cleaning house. We are going to put disinfectant all over the place. We are going to literally burn the place down, and we are going to come back in 30 days, and you will enjoy the stylings of the girl from Ipanema and an entire library of Frank Sinatra songs. And then on the 30th day, they open the doors back up and they go, we're literally going to tell you the headlines, and we're not going to editorialize.
And we're going to change our ways.
And we are going to be a news station. You won't know which side we are coming from. And here's the other thing. They will not have any Gen Zers on there producing shows. They will have no millennials on there producing shows. They will have people that went through 4 years of an Edward R. Murrow College communications program and know how to do the news properly. And on that, I have to leave.
I was going to say, what
Who
are you
owns
smoking
CNN?
today?
Huh?
Who owns CNN?
Well, that's shareholders.
Is it the Murdochs or whatever their name is?
Murdochs.
No, that's Fox. That's
Okay, that's what Jay was saying. He said they're like similar.
Well,
so it should be the Murdochs.
They're very similar. Anyone who owns any of these news corporations are all the same.
Well, Christopher Ruddy, who technically owns Newsmax, is considered to be a liberal by many people.
He is not a liberal.
You know
Then
what,
why-
Eric?
okay, then
Greg
why-
wants you to know that Ted Turner's not dead.
No, I know he's not dead.
He's just very
Figuratively,
concerned
he's
about
dead.
that.
Figuratively,
I
he's
told
dead.
you he's been speaking out on it, so they know. I mean, Eric knew. I had just said that.
I
Greg's
haven't
just a new
heard one
listener,
word
just
from
wanted
him.
to make sure you knew.
I know a few years ago, he's like, what the hell's going on in my station? That's exactly how he sounded.
I started following Chris Ruddy back in 1993. That's how long he and I have been connected. As soon as LinkedIn came up, he was one of my first.
Why do you think Pam
LinkedIn
says that he's?
connections.
Why do you think Pam from our Facebook
Well,
line
because
says
there are
that
some
he's
policies
liberal?
that they have, as including vaccines, where a lot of people believed them to be liberal. And there's a guy named Rob Carson. Some of you in St. Louis may know him.
And Warner Discovery owns CNN.
Right.
And that
so-
could be another cottage.
Thank you, Ben.
Another cottage industry coming up could be how to clean wokeness out of your company. That could be the new consulting.
Tabitha, what were
could
you
be.
saying about Ruddy again? I'm sorry.
Oh, about Chris Ruddy?
Yeah.
I don't view him as a liberal at all. There's a guy here in St. Louis named Rob Carson who I talk to pretty often, and he's been at several different radio stations around the St. Louis city. He works at Newsmax now. He now has a show on Newsmax, and I've talked to him about it. What's it like working there? How are things? How is Chris? I've known him from afar, through interactions on LinkedIn, et cetera, for all these years. And he's like, no, I can do anything I want. I can say anything I want. There are zero restrictions on my show. And he's like, he's absolutely fantastic to work for.
Okay.
Sure, I'm sure.
Well, there you go. We like to dispel myths when we can.
Projo's fantastic to work for.
Yeah, that's
tell you that right
Yeah,
now.
we all like Projo.
Eric
And Projo, there's again, the new listener says that he loves whoever's producing the show. He thought it was Eric. And I said, no, Eric's great, but Projo's the one producing the show. And he said, there's nothing like it out there.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that over and over, how great the show is produced, just so you
Good
know.
job, Projo.
Thank you.
That's all you got?
Come on.
Thank you.
Say something else. Say something else. Say,
let me answer that for you, Projo. Well, thank you very much. I get up every morning with a toast and a glass of, and I come in here and I want to enhance the audience's experience.
The lighting.
You guys do all the work. I just come in and press buttons.
That's a lot of
That's a lot.
Hey, making the light and the sound look as good as it can and getting to the videos and doing that stuff.
Just wait till he brings out the lasers and foggers. It's going to be
that's
amazing.
coming next. That's coming next.
Yes.
And you're not getting small people. Sorry, Eric.
Why?
I know you like fireworks and small people.
Yes.
Fireworks.
Hey, by the way,
small people.
Tomorrow we've got Vance Crowe back on. Initially, when we had Vance Crowe on, he was a terrific guest, very popular, a lot of people's favorite, talking about food, talking about what happened with the old Monsanto and Bayer. But the way that I became familiar with Vance in the first place, he was popular and brought to my attention because of his vast knowledge and his podcast dealing with financial services, the financial industry, and money. So tomorrow, he is going to explain, because he's become an expert in Bitcoin.
I love it.
So tomorrow, the different Bitcoin, crypto, what's real, what's not, what people can trust, what you should do. It's never too late to get involved. It's never too late to see what's happening, especially with the digital currency that is coming. We're all going to be digital. It's happening. FedNow on the way.
We cannot stop it.
All of this is coming. So tomorrow we want to do an education session with Vance, and he talks to industry leaders and all of this on his podcast. So tomorrow at 8:15 live, or you can catch us, of course, anytime at cancelthisshow.com. So we'll have that. Can't wait for that segment. Guys, thanks for joining us for this podcast on June 7th. For Projo, Eric Johnson, Lizzie Sparks, Tabitha Hassel, I'm Vic Faust. Have an awesome day. Thank you.